Part 33. I really didn't want to be a warm man when I was reborn. Author, Li Yuanzhe. Chapter 322. Li Zhe took it and opened it and found a Gucci belt inside. He has no shortage of belts. Josio has bought many belts for him, including Gucci, LV, Hermes, Armani, etc., from all major brands. But this Gucci belt is not a low-end product. It costs at least 3,000 to 4,000, which is a lot of money for Yang Hao. However, when you show courtesy to others, you must ask for something. Yang Hao wants resources again. Husband, I have prepared a special gift for you, Luan Xiaolin said mysteriously. Li Zhe put the belt aside casually. What gift? If there happened to be suitable resources, he wouldn't mind arranging Yang Hao casually. For example, this time the greedy fat thief in Crazy Lottery, nightclub. But it was impossible to deliberately arrange it for him. Honey, wait for me. Luan Xiaolin took the bag and went to the bathroom. Li Zhe looked at Luan Xiaolin's leaving figure and shook his head slightly. He had already guessed what the special gift she had prepared was. Nothing more than a uniform. Is he the kind of guy who would be tempted by uniforms? After waiting for 5 or 6 minutes, Luan Xiaolin walked out of the bathroom wearing a red stewardess uniform. Li Zhe glanced at her and said, "Is this the uniform of China Southern Airlines?" Luan Xiaolin walked to him with a smile. "Sir, what services do you need?" Li Zhe smiled and reached out to hold her in his arms. However, Luan Xiaolin avoided it. "Sir, please respect yourself." Her face also turned cold. Li Zhe was stunned for a moment. As expected of an actor, he acted really well. Since she wants to play the situational game, he should cooperate with her. There's something wrong with the bathroom. Can you help me take a look? Okay, sir. Luan Xiaolin and Li Zhe walked into the bathroom together. Soon, Luan Xiaolin's exclamation came from the bathroom. "Sir, don't do this. Let me go. If you do this again, I'll call the police." After playing the situational game for more than an hour, Luan Xiaolin's flight attendant uniform was torn to pieces. After playing the game, the two took a bath together, and Li Zhe carried Luan Xiaolin back to the big bed in the bedroom. Luan Xiaolin was like a docile kitten, lying obediently in Li Zhe's arms. Li Zhe leaned against the bedside with a contented look on his face, caressing her white back. Luan Xiaolin's performance is so realistic, she refuses to give in and struggles desperately. He was reluctant to use violence, so he went through a lot of effort to subdue her. If Luan Xiaolin hadn't lowered her resistance later, it would have been very difficult for him to succeed. However, Li Zhe never thought that he would kill Luan Xiaolin in that situation. At the moment when he succeeded, her desperate eyes, her heart was filled with despair, and she gave up her struggle. Her acting skills were simply amazing. She really has talent as an actress. Husband, how was my performance just now? Luan Xiaolin raised her head and said with a smile. The acting was so realistic that it made me feel a little guilty. At that moment, Li Zhe really felt like he was there. Luan Xiaolin smiled contentedly. When I watched the movie, I felt that their acting was too fake. If I were to act in it, it would definitely be different. When Li Zhe heard this, he was stunned for a moment and glanced at her. What kind of movie was she watching, and what kind of plot was it? Husband, if you like it, we can try another plot next time, Luan Xiaolin said with a smile. Let's talk again, Li Zhe coughed, pretending to be serious. It's nice to have an actress girlfriend. Luan Xiaolin can be allowed to play more classic roles in the future. Then he would review the plot with her. Xiaolin, don't you have a role today? No, Crazy Lottery has been filmed, Luan Xiaolin said with a slight shake of her head. I have no more scenes to shoot. Crazy Lottery has already concluded this matter, but Li Zhe really doesn't know. Zhang Jingxian is now in charge of the specific affairs of Cuckoo Entertainment, and he only controls the company's development direction. There is no filming, so I just need to take a break before filming the airs. But I am only the second female lead in this drama, Luan Xiaolin said softly. When Li Jie heard this, he knew that he was asking for resources. Thinking about the situational game we just played, it's time to reward her. After filming the airs is finished, I will create a drama tailored for you. Husband, you are so kind. After hearing this, Luan Xiaolin excitedly offered her a sweet kiss. Li Jie smiled. A girl like Luan Xiaolin has long legs, is beautiful, has a proud personality, and has a good family background. If she didn't have a star dream, she wouldn't be willing to be his lover. He stood up, took his coat, and found a red rope anklet with a gold fortune bead strung on it. Li Jie put the anklet on Luan Xiaolin's right foot, and then said to her, "This anklet must be worn from now on. It is not allowed to be taken off except under special circumstances." Luan Xiaolin looked at the anklets on her feet, smiled and nodded. Although it was just a transfer bead anklet worth a few hundred yuan, it was the first gift Li Jie gave her. The two were affectionate for a while. Li Jie looked at the time and found that it was already past 4 p.m., so he said to Luan Xiaolin, "I have something else to do, so I'll leave first. You can just stay in this hotel, and when the airs starts filming, you can just join the set." Luan Xiaolin said with some reluctance, "Husband, let me give it to you." She knew that Li Jie was going to accompany another woman, but she was very satisfied if he could spare time to spend an afternoon alone with her. "No, you're not injured, just rest for a while," Li Jie said while getting dressed. "But I want to see you off," Luan Xiaolin insisted. She also started to get dressed. Just because of the large range of movement, she couldn't help but frown. Into the situational game, Li Jie was inevitably a little rough just now. After the two got dressed, Luan Xiaolin limped Li Jie outside the hotel and watched him get into the car. It wasn't until the car gradually drove away that she turned around and limped back to the hotel. At around 6 o'clock in the evening, Li Jie arrived at the Hilton Hotel in an Audi A8L, and his personal butler was already waiting at the door. He dismissed Chen Baishan and took the exclusive elevator to the presidential suite on the 37th floor under the guidance of his personal butler. As soon as he came in, he saw Zhou Ziyu and Shen Xinyi sitting together in the living room, while Xiao Qiao and Lu Kai were sitting alone. The four of them didn't speak to each other, and the atmosphere was very tense. Seeing Li Jie coming, the four of them stood up at the same time. "Husband, you're here," Zhou Ziyu spoke first, smiling. Seeing that Zhou Ziyu had beaten him first again, Xiao Qiao felt very unhappy and quickly called out, "Husband." Lu Kai and Shen Xinyi also shouted, "Husband, X2." Li Jie smiled and nodded to them. After discovering that Zhou Ziyu's right cheek was red and swollen, he couldn't help but froze for a moment and subconsciously looked at Xiao Qiao. Noticing Li Jie's gaze, Xiao Qiao explained, "I hit her, but it was never that serious. She was just playing a trick." Sure enough, the fight started. Li Jie sighed softly in his heart and felt a little headache. He looked at Lu Kai and Shen Xinyi again, noticed the large diamond ring on Shen Xinyi's hand, and felt his head hurt even more. Now that they are still young, their thoughts are relatively simple and they just fight like this. If they wait a few years and mature and have children, they may not even know what the fight will be like. "Happy birthday, hubby. This is the gift I prepared for you this time." Xiao Qiao took the lead and took out the gift first. When Li Jie opened the gift box, he found that it was a large grey knitted cardigan, which was very fashionable and elegant. "Husband, I knitted this sweater for you myself," Xiao Qiao said with a smile. "Did you knit it?" Li Jie was a little surprised. "This knitted sweater cannot be knitted without certain knitting skills. I have been knitting for more than 3 months, Xiao Qiao said. "Bai Wei knitted it for you, right?" Zhou Ziyu looked at the knitted sweater and said with a smile. Upon hearing this, Xiao Qiao turned his head and glared at her. Josie guessed right. Bai Wei helped knit the sweater. Xiao Jiao was only responsible for knitting the simple parts. The more difficult parts such as sleeves and neckline were knitted by Bai Wei. In addition, Xiao Jiao's knitting skills were also taught by Bai Wei. Sister Wei taught me to knit, and she also helped, but at least half of it was knitted by me. After Xiao Jiao explained, he picked up the knitted sweater and said, "Hubby, try it on to see if it fits." Li Jie took off his suit jacket and put on a knitted sweater to try on. He found that Bai Wei had a good sense of aesthetics. The knitted sweater was as fashionable as the popular fashion brands. "Jiao Bao, thank you for your hard work. I like it very much." "Honey, as long as you like it." Hearing what Li Jie said, Xiao Jiao's face suddenly showed a look of joy, feeling that the 2 or 3 months of hard work had not been in vain. However, if she knew that Li Jie gave all the credit to Bai Wei and only gave her a hard work, she would not be so happy. "Joe Fox, where is your gift?" Xiao Jiao looked at Josie and said competitively. She didn't believe that the gift Josie prepared could be more meaningful than her gift. Josie smiled and said, "Hubby, I don't know how to knit sweaters, and there's no one to help me knit, so I bought you a gift." "Joe Fox?" Li Jie glanced at Josie and felt that the nickname Xiao Jiao gave her was quite vivid. She is as smart as a little fox. He also took the gift box from Josie, opened it, and found that it was a gold Rolex Date watch, which cost at least 200,000 yuan. "Why did you buy such an expensive gift?" "Of course it is generous to spend other people's money and buy gifts for others," Xiao Jiao said coldly. Josie glanced at Xiao Jiao with a smile, and then said, "I bought this watch with the royalties I earned." An additional 200,000 copies of Wei Wei were printed. Josie and the publishing house paid 200,000 royalties in advance, plus royalties from the previous tens of thousands of copies, to buy this watch. "Honey, let me put the watch on for you." She picked up the gold watch and put it on Li Jie's hand. "I like this watch too," Li Jie said, looking at the gold watch on his wrist. "Husband, if you like, you can wear it often in the future," Josie said with a smile. "By the way, Jinja heard that it was your birthday and she also prepared a gift and asked me to bring it to you." As she said that, she took out another birthday gift. Zhao Jinja? Li Jie had long forgotten about this girl. He opened the gift box and saw that it was an Armani belt. "Happy birthday, hubby." Shen Xinyi also gave a gift. Lu Kaiu just wanted to give a gift, but Shen Xinyi beat him to it, which made her feel a little uncomfortable. According to the order, it was her turn, and Xiao should be the last one. Li Jie opened Shen Xinyi's gift and saw a light gray knitted scarf inside. "This scarf goes well with the sweater Xiao Jiao gave me. I knitted every stitch and thread of the scarf myself," Shen Xinyi said, picking up the scarf and wrapping it around Li Jie's neck. Xiao Jiao couldn't help but glance at Shen Xin. She felt that the other person's words meant something about her. The only thing missing now is that Lu Kaiu hasn't sent a gift yet. Lu Kaiu glanced at Xiao Jiao, Josie and Shen Xinyi, and then said to Li Jie, "I can't knit, and I don't have much money, so I bought a small gift." Li Jie accepted Lu Kaiu's gift and opened it to find a dragon-shaped jade pendant, which was very exquisite. Lu Kaiu said it was a small gift, but judging from the texture of the jadeite, the color is delicate green, and the transparency is also very high. It should be ice jadeite, and the price must be tens of thousands. This is because the price of jade is relatively cheap now, but it will be more expensive in the future. "Where did you buy this pendant?" Li Jie asked Lu Kaiu with a smile. "It's not easy to buy jade at the ice level. Not only is it expensive to buy at the counter, but there are also too many fakes. The pendant given by Lu Kaiu is not like the over-the-counter product, it is an old item." Lu Kaiu smiled and said, "It was passed down from a classmate's family. I checked a lot of information on jade and found someone to look at it. After confirming that it was probably genuine, I spent more than 10,000 yuan to buy it." "More than 10,000? Then you've earned it. An ice-type floating flower of this level is now worth 30 to 50,000, and it is difficult to buy, let alone more than 10 years later. It doesn't matter whether you make money or not, I just think this pendant is suitable for you, Lu Kaiu said, picked up the jade pendant, and also helped Li Jie wear it around his neck. However, the scarf around Li Jie's neck covered his neck. Lu Kaiu took off the scarf first, and then put the jade pendant on Li Jie. Seeing that the scarf she gave to Li Jie was casually put aside by Lu Kaiu, Shen Xian couldn't help but glance at her. Li Jie noticed this scene, picked up the scarf, and wrapped it around his neck again. The four girlfriends all carefully prepared gifts for him. Of course Li Jie was very happy, but they went through so much trouble even giving gifts, which made him helpless. After giving the gifts, the five of them came to the table to eat together. There were more than a dozen dishes on the dining table for 6 people, including the hotel's specialties and several dishes personally prepared by Xiao Jiao, Zhou Ziyu, Lu Kaiu, and Shen Xinyi. The presidential suite has a kitchen where you can cook. Honey, try the pot pork I made first. Xiao Jiao first gave Li Jie a piece of pot pork. The color of this pot of meat looks okay. Li Jie picked it up, put it in his mouth and tasted it. Well, it tastes good. He added in his mind, the taste is a bit hard. Honey, try my cooking again. Zhou Ziyu picked up a piece of sea bass meat and fed it to Li Jie's mouth. It's delicious, Li Jie commented. Zhou Ziyu's cooking skills are beyond the comparison of Xiao Jiao, a novice who just follows the recipes, and the taste is indeed excellent. Li Jie never cooks when he's with his little lover. It's not because he's lazy, but because he doesn't want to show his shame. Next, he tasted the dishes cooked by Lu Kaiu and Shen Xinyi. Regardless of the actual taste, they all say it tastes good. After finishing the meal, Li Jie barely moved his chopsticks. Xiao Jiao, Zhou Ziyu, Lu Kaiu, and Shen Xinyi took turns picking up vegetables for him and feeding them to his mouth. Apart from the fact that I was a little overfed due to too much feeding, I really enjoyed it. Only with competition can we learn to cherish. In order to overwhelm their love rival, the four of them, Xiao Jiao, Zhou Ziyu, Lu Kaiu, and Shen Xinyi, competed to perform. I really didn't want to be a warm man when I was reborn. Author, Li Yuanzhe. Chapter 323. After eating, make a wish and eat cake. Seeing Xiao Jiao, Zhou Ziyu, Lu Kaiu, and Shen Xinyi each carrying a birthday cake, Li Jie felt a headache again. Husband, blow out the candles and make a wish. Xiao Jiao carefully placed the cake on the table. Her cake is the largest, a 3-layer cake. Husband, I made this cake myself. What Zhou Ziyu is holding is a 1-layer cake, which is extremely delicate. It can be seen that she made this cake with great care. While Shen Xinyi's cake is very cute, Lu Kaiu's cake is quite satisfactory. They looked at Li Jie at the same time, with the obvious intention of asking him to choose a cake. Let's make a wish and blow out the candles together. Li Jie put the 4 cakes together. What to choose? He doesn't choose either one, let's go together. Looking at the 21 candles on each of the 4 cakes, Li Jie realized that he would be 21 years old tonight. Today next year, he will reach the legal age and can get a certificate. He glanced at Xiao Jiao, Zhou Ziyu, Lu Kaiu, and Shen Xinyi. In the past, he couldn't find a girlfriend and no one wanted to marry him, but now he has too many girlfriends and he doesn't know who to choose to marry. Li Jie shook his head in his heart and stopped thinking about it. He closed his eyes and made a wish. Then he opened his eyes and blew out all the candles on the 4 cakes. Husband, what wish did you make? Xiao Jiao asked with a smile. Li Jie smiled and said, if you say your wish, it won't work. Xiao Jiao snorted softly, I can guess it even if you don't tell me. After saying that, she leaned over and whispered something in his ear. After hearing this, Li Jie glanced at Xiao Jiao, then at Zhou Ziyu, Lu Kaiu, and Shen Xinyi. This President Jiao actually slandered him. Is he such a ridiculous person? Zhou Ziu's attention was not on Li Jie and Xiao Jiao, but looked at the 21 candles on the cake thoughtfully. Today next year, Li Jie will reach the legal age. And she and Xiao Jiao have also reached age. Honey, let's cut the cake, x3. Xiao Jiao, Lu Kaiyu, and Shen Xian picked up the cake knives at the same time. Zhou Ziu didn't know what he was thinking, so he took a moment. Looking at the cake knives in the hands of the four of them, Li Jackson said that fortunately they were plastic knives, not controlled knives. Cut it? What to choose? He still doesn't choose, let's go together. Xiao Jiao, Zhou Ziu, Lu Kaiyu, and Shen Xinyi each cut a piece of cake and handed it to him. Li Jie treated them fairly and took a bite together. After finishing the cake, it was already past 8 p.m. Li Jie looked at the four of them, Xiao Jiao, Ziu, Lu Kaiyu, and Shen Xinyi, and really wanted to say, that's it for tonight, let's break up. However, they obviously had no intention of leaving. He won't even let him go. Sitting like this and remaining in a stalemate is not an option. Li Jie thought for a while and said, how about we play games together? What game are you playing? Xiao Jiao asked. How about we play Truth or Dare? Zhou Ziu suggested with a smile. Us? Also play? Xiao Jiao heard the overtones. Obviously, Li Jie and Zhou Ziu have played this game. Okay. Let's play Truth or Dare, she said. You guys can play, I won't play anymore, Lu Kaiyu refused. When she thought about her last experience, she didn't want to play this game anymore. How about we still play cards? Li Jie said. 5 people playing Truth or Dare together, isn't this looking for death? He didn't want to answer, who do you like best among the 4 of us? Such a fatal question. Li Jie called his personal butler and gave instructions. Soon, the waiter brought 2 decks of cards. The 5 of them played landlords together. 2 decks of cards, 5 people playing against the landlords, 2 landlords, 1 light and 1 dark, and the remaining 3 are farmers. It's just that the 4 girls have different ideas and don't cooperate with each other when playing cards. Either the landlords are fighting among themselves, or the farmers are fighting among themselves, and then blame each other. Looking at the 4 of them, Li Jie's head hurt again. You can even start a fight by playing cards. He finally understood why, in Tang Bo who lights up the autumn fragrance, Tang Bo who had 8 wives and was always looking sad and about to run away from home. It's really hard to enjoy this beautiful blessing surrounded by beautiful women hugging you from left to right. After playing for less than an hour, Xiao Jiao, Zhou Ziu, Lu Kaiyu, and Shen Xinyi all dropped their cards and stopped playing. Li Jie thought it was still early, so he suggested watching a movie together. This time he didn't ask them what movie they wanted to watch, and just decided to watch a horror movie. If you want to ask them for their opinions, you have to argue. We chose a horror movie and the 5 of us sat on the sofa and watched the movie together. Xiao Jiao and Shen Xinyi are both timid and afraid of ghosts. When they saw the scary scenes, they were so frightened that they crawled into Li Jie's arms. Lu Kaiyu was also a little nervous, but Zhou Ziu was the only one who was calm. After watching the movie, it was around 11 p.m. Li Jie looked at Xiao Jiao, Zhou Ziu, Lu Kaiyu, and Shen Xinyi and said, it's getting late, how about we go to bed early? Then how can we sleep? Xiao Jiao asked. Why don't we sleep together? Li Jie said tentatively. Dream, you think beautifully. That is. Xiao Jiao, Lu Kaiyu, and Shen Xian heard this one by one and condemned him one after another. Only Zhou Ziu smiled and said nothing. Li Jie was just joking. He had already had a fight with Luan Xiaolin in the afternoon. If they had another fight with Luan Xiaolin in the evening, he would really die. In this case, Xiao Jiao, you and Xiaoyu will live in the female master's room, and Ziu, you and Xinyi will live in the male master's room. He knew that all 4 of them wanted to live in the mistress room. The problem is, no matter how big the double bed is, it can't accommodate 4 people. Besides, the four of them live together, what if they start fighting again? Husband, where do you live? Xiaoqiao, Zhouziu, Lu Kaiyu, and Shen Xinyi asked almost at the same time. I'm going to sleep in the study, Li Jie said. No one raised any objections from Xiaoqiao or Zhouziu, and they were all quite satisfied with Li Jie's distribution result. Li Jie came to the study alone, pulled up a chair and sat down, sighing softly in his heart. What's the point of having four beautiful girlfriends but having to sleep alone in the study room? Xiaoqiao put on a white chiffon suspender pajamas in the cloakroom and returned to the bedroom. I found that Lu Kaiyu had also changed into a light blue suspender pajamas and was sitting at the desk playing with her laptop. Are you going to take a shower? She asked Lu Kaiyu. Lu Kaiyu looked away from the computer and glanced at Xiaoqiao. You go and wash it first, I'll go there later. After saying that, she turned her attention to the computer again. Lu Kaiyu was checking the company's accounts. Li Jie gave Lu Kaiyu the power to check the accounts at any time, and assigned her a professional assistant in accounting and a professional accountant. Li Jie attaches great importance to finance. Many companies go bankrupt because of financial problems. So he not only established a strict financial system, but also established an additional financial inspection team directly under the president's office. Let Lu Kaiyu be the person in charge, of course, because he trusts her. However, she only has the power to audit the accounts, but has no right to use the company's funds. Lu Kaiyu is also extremely committed to this job. She didn't know anything about accounting, so she taught herself financial knowledge, consulted experienced accountants, and put all her energy into this first audit. In Lu Kaiyu's view, only by becoming a good helper in Li Jie's career can she stay with him for a long time. People like Xiaoqiao and Zhouziu who only compete for favor will not last long. When Xiaoqiao was browsing the room in the afternoon, she found an electric massage bathtub in the bathroom, and she wanted to take a bath. However, when she came to the bathroom, she found that Zhouziu was already taking a bath in the bathtub. Xiaoqiao, what a coincidence, you come to take a bath too, Zhouziu glanced at Xiaoqiao and said with a smile. Joe Fox, Xiaoqiao said through gritted teeth. This Zhouziu is simply her nemesis. He competes with her for Li Jie, the room, and now even the bathtub. In the study room, Li Jie took a book from the bookshelf and was reading it when he heard someone knocking on the door. Come in. Shen Xian walked in with a fruit plate and said, eat some fruit. Okay, Li Jie put down the book, took an orange, and started eating. Husband, we are going to have an internship soon, Shen Xian glanced at him and said. Then come to the company for an internship. Li Jie smiled, stretched out his hand to hold Shen Xian in his arms, and let her sit on his lap. Didn't I tell you to be my secretary? He had never seen Shen Xian in secretary uniform, so he wanted to experience it no matter what. Yeah, Shen Xian hummed slightly. And Jiaying also wants to come. Jiaying, Li Jie didn't remember who it was for a moment. Zheng Jiaying, my roommate. Shen Xian paused, then said coquettishly, you forgot, you bribed her with a mobile phone, and you two even teamed up to deceive me. When Li Jie heard this, he also remembered who Zheng Jiaying was. Besides Zhang Yu, there was another small spy he had bribed. How can this be called bribery? I just gave her a small gift to thank her for bringing us together. My dear, I lied to you because I like you. You know how to say nice things, Shen Xian said with a smile. Then Jiaying, can she come over for internship? Of course, she is not only your roommate, but also our matchmaker, Li Jie said with a smile. He had long understood that when Shen Xian agreed to Zhong Chao's date, he was actually just treating him as a tool to stimulate him. That's why she didn't mind Zheng Jiaying's deception at all. This Shen Guiguai is only obedient on the surface, not without any scheming. In addition, Li Jie could also see that both Shen Xinyi and Lu Kaiyu had a kind of admiration for him. That's why I'm so obedient. For idols, worshippers often put themselves in a relatively humble position. Just like many fans think that having a relationship with their idol is a benefit. Zhou finished taking a bath and gave the bathtub to Xiaoqiao. When she returned to the bedroom, she found that Shen Xinyi was missing. She put on a facial mask and started doing yoga. Just as she finished a set of yoga movements, Shen Xinyi walked in from outside. "Xinyi, why are your face so red?" Zhou noticed that Shen Xinyi's face was flushed, and something was wrong at the corners of his eyes and eyebrows. "I went to the gym to do some exercise," Shen Xinyi said a little unnaturally. "Going to the gym to exercise? Go to the study room." Zhou smiled and did not expose it. "I'm also going to the gym to do some exercise." After that, she got up and left the bedroom. Going to the gym to exercise? Shen Xinyi looked away from Zhou's back, looked at the time, and found that it was already past 12 o'clock in the evening. There was no bed in the study, so Li Jie asked his personal butler to add a single bed. As soon as Shen Xian left, he turned off the light and went to bed. However, not long after he lay down, he felt someone opening the door and walking in lightly. "Who?" "Husband. Why are you here?" Li Jie knew it was his little lover as soon as he heard the voice. "Honey, I'll come over and stay with you for a while." Zhou came to the bed and sat down next to him. "Stay with him for a while? Let's sit with him for a while." Li Jie smiled, sat up, reached out to hold Zhou into his arms, kissed her, and gently touched her body. After driving Zhou away, Xiaoqiao enjoyed a bath. After taking a bath, she wiped herself clean, put on her pajamas, and prepared to go back to the bedroom. But before he had taken a few steps, Xiaoqiao felt something in his heart and changed direction and went to the study. Arriving at the door of the study, she was about to push the door open when she heard a subtle sound coming from inside. Xiaoqiao's expression changed. She was the president, and she knew what the people inside were doing when she heard it. Moreover, the girl's voice was too familiar to her. "Joe Fox." This time Zhou comes to compete with her again. After Lu Kaiu checked another account, she stretched a little tiredly. Although the work is tiring, it is fulfilling. She glanced at the time and found that it was already past 12 o'clock in the evening, almost 1 o'clock. Didn't Xiaoqiao say he was going to take a shower? Why didn't he come back after more than an hour? With this in mind, Lu Kaiu got up, left the room, and came to the bathroom. As a result, I found that the bathroom was also empty. Where has Xiaoqiao gone? Lu Kaiu thought of something, walked out of the bathroom, and walked directly to the study. Arriving at the study door, she pressed against the door and listened. How ridiculous! Lu Kaiu couldn't help but spit. She completely forgot that she had been so ridiculous more than once. She stood up and prepared to leave. However, as soon as she turned around, she saw Shen Xian standing not far behind her. The next day, Li Jie slept until almost noon before getting up. But after waking up, he still felt a little tired. "I played a little crazy yesterday. Fortunately, Lu Kaiu didn't come over last night, otherwise it would have killed him. You must exercise moderation and practice for a few days." With this in mind, Li Jie got dressed, left the study and came to the living room, where he found that only Xiaoqiao was there. "Where are they?" "They're all gone," Xiaoqiao said, stood up and came over to hug him. "Husband," she said coquettishly. "Then let's check out and go." Li Jie pushed her away without leaving any trace. He knew what she was thinking, but he really didn't think about it anymore. He now wants to do his career more than indulge in women. When Li Jie wasn't paying attention, Xiaoqiao pursed her lips and snickered. "I didn't expect that he would be afraid sometimes." Yes, she did it on purpose just now. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I really didn't want to be a warm man when I was reborn. Author, Li Yuanzhe. Chapter 324. After the birthday party, with Li Zhe's hard work and persuasion, Xiaoqiao and Zhou Ziyu made a temporary truce. But despite the truce, they still dislike each other and don't want to get along. Li Zhe originally wanted to experience serving Yu and Qiao together again, but unfortunately he couldn't find the opportunity. On the morning of October 17th, Li Zhe took Zhou Ziyu and her roommate Yu Xiangzi to Kuku Entertainment, and together with Zhang Jingxian hosted 3 TV shows, Old Boy, The Heirs, and A Little Smile. For this drama, the second round of casting re-examination will be held. Bring Zhou Ziyu here because she is the screenwriter and consultant of the drama Wei Wei. As for Yu Xiangzi, Li Zhe invited her to serve as the costume design and makeup consultant for the 2 dramas The Heirs and Wei Wei. The Heirs and Wei Wei are both idol dramas. At this time, the mainland did not have much experience in filming idol dramas, and the idol dramas produced were often relatively crude. For example, let's watch The Meteor Shower, which will start filming next year. The mainland version of the F4 quartet does not look like aristocratic children, but more like the second generation of the nouveau riche. The 4 male protagonists are showing off in a MG. Are they really the second generation of wealthy families? If you don't have any shooting experience, it's actually easy to solve it. Just find an experienced director. Li Zhe asked Zhang Jingxian to invite Lu Junjie, a well-known idol drama director in Taiwan, who has filmed a series of famous idol dramas such as Lavender, The Prince Turns into a Frog, and The Love Magician. He is also the director of later films Shan Shan is Coming and Wai Sheng Xiao Mo. However, when it comes to actor makeup and costume matching, from Li Zhe's point of view, even Taiwanese idol dramas are a bit crude. Therefore, he found Yu Xiangzi. This girl was ahead of her time in terms of makeup and clothing aesthetics. Her blush makeup is amazing. With her here, she might be able to capture the fashion sense of future idol dramas. Hello teachers, I am Zhang Han, graduated from Chinese opera. The pond owner is worthy of being a tyrant and a rich second-generation professional householder. He has a rebellious temperament of a rich second generation. However, he is also a rich second generation. If such a big thing happens when he is in school, he can still spend money to solve it. After Zhang Han finished the interview, Li Zhe casually put his resume aside. Let the pond master perform Thunderstorm and find his little fairy. Just don't ruin other people's marriages. After interviewing a few more people, Nazar walked in. Hello teachers, I am. As soon as she spoke, Li Zhe frowned. This Mandarin is too non-standard. After Nazar finished introducing himself, Li Zhe motioned to the staff to give her a page of the Wei Wei script and let her try to perform. If the lines are not good enough, you can dub them, so let's take a look at her acting skills. Nazar took over the script, got familiar with it for a while, and then performed it. After watching her perform, Li Zhe and Zhang Jingxian looked at each other, with one meaning in their eyes, no. There was no acting ability at all in her performance, and she couldn't even perform normally when she was nervous. After sending Naza away, Li Zhe said to Zhang Jingxian, sign this girl as a trainee and send her to South Korea for training. Although Naza's acting skills are hard to describe, it is still suitable to be of ace with some training. Zhang Jingxian nodded. She also felt that this girl had a good appearance. She could try to sign her and train her. If it didn't work, she would give up. The next person who came in was Zhao Xiaodao. It is said that Zhao Xiaodao was born as a bid player. In fact, he made his debut in the talent show and was a character actor signed by a big company. He was not a bid player. Even if you are a young actor in the entertainment industry, your life is much better than that of an ordinary office worker. Besides, her current manager also has some energy in the industry, but he just doesn't put too many resources on her. After Zhao Xiaodao finished introducing himself, Li Jie also gave her a page of the script of the heirs and asked her to try acting. After she finished her performance, Li Jie couldn't help but nodded inwardly. She is worthy of being a first-line actress of later generations. Although her acting skills are a little immature, she is still remarkable. With some training, it's enough to play the heirs. He didn't mince words and said directly, "Are you willing to sign with our Cuckoo Entertainment?" Zhao Xiaodao was stunned for a moment after hearing this. "I already have an agent, why do I still need to sign a contract?" She said it directly. No wonder his nickname is Zhao Xiaodao, he has such a stupid temperament. Li Jie smiled and said, "Okay, since you don't want to, forget it." After Zhao Xiaodao went out, Zhang Jingxian asked with a smile, "Mr. Li, do you like her? It has great potential, but it still needs to be tempered." "Then why don't you send someone to talk to her? She's just a young actress. It's not difficult to lure her over." Li Jie thought for a moment, shook his head and said, "Forget it, since she doesn't want to, there's no need for us to force it. What about the first-tier actresses of later generations? It's not worth his trouble." After a day of interviews, the main actors were basically decided. The two leading actors in Old Boy still found the Chopstick Brothers, and the role of the school beauty was given to Zhao Yuhuan. The male protagonists and main supporting roles of the heirs and Wei Wei have also been selected. There are only two heroines that I can't decide on. So Cuckoo Entertainment conducted castings at major art schools. This time I finally found a suitable candidate for Bai Weiwei, named Nini, a student majoring in broadcasting and hosting in Nanjing. As soon as Li Jie saw Nini's information, he recognized her, UMO from 13 Hairpins. Nini's appearance is indeed very close to Bai Weiwei's. However, the heroine of the heirs still has not found a suitable candidate. After Li Jie looked at the selected candidates, he was not satisfied with them. On October 20th, Divine Comedy was launched on the Funwan game platform. Business Tycoon is also online on the 25th. At this time, Qwen Games has 5 self-made games, including Divine Comedy, Dandan Hall, Shenxian Dao, Business Tycoon, and Tower Defense 3 Kingdoms. Also on the 25th, Shen Xinyi and her roommate Zheng Jiaying came to Kudong Group for internship. Li Jie left Shen Xinyi in the president's office as a secretary, and arranged Zheng Jiaying to work as an intern at Funwan Games. On the 28th, Funwan Technology had been negotiating with Penguin Games for more than half a month. When the number of registered users of Qwen Farm was about to exceed 30 million, the two parties finally reached an agreement. Penguin Games finally bought out part of the agency rights of Fun Farm for 18 million. For example, Penguin Games has the right to decide on its own when the game will be closed, change the name of the game, etc. Agency commissions have also been kept extremely low. Qwen Technology agreed to all these conditions, but only in exchange for one condition, allowing the novel website to connect to the Penguin platform. During the negotiations with Funwan Games, there is another thing worth mentioning. That's why Qwen Technology won the anti-plagiarism lawsuit. The game Fun Farm that copied Fun Farm was too obvious to plagiarize. Not only is the name of the game identical, but the game graphics and gameplay are more than 90% similar, and even the game source code was copied. The evidence of plagiarism was conclusive, and the verdict was issued after the trial. The infringing game Qwen Farmers was removed from the shelves, and Qwen Technology was compensated RMB 1.6 million. Although the compensation is not much, it has played a certain role in curbing plagiarism. There are already more than a dozen vegetable stealing games on the market that are borrowed from Fun Farm. For these games, as long as they are highly referenced, Qwen Technology's legal department will not let any of them go and file a lawsuit against them all. Precisely because of the huge commotion, Penguin Games took into account the impact, and the conditions proposed by Qwen Technology were not excessive, so they finally chose to act as an agent rather than learn from. On the last day of October, Li Jie was sitting in his office, paying attention to the price fluctuations of crude oil. After entering October, the price of international crude oil is falling, falling, falling. It has dropped from $98 to $62. The price has fluctuated a bit in the past few days, rising back to $65. Li Jie guessed that the price of crude oil has not yet bottomed out, and there is still room for decline. He doesn't know the bottom price of crude oil in the previous life, but his bottom line is $30 to $40. Moreover, the bottom may soon be reached. That's what happened in the past 2 months. Because by next year, crude oil prices should pick up. Therefore, Li Jie has been watching the price fluctuations of crude oil every day recently. Boom. At this time, someone knocked on the door. Come in. Mr. Li, Shen Xinyi, dressed in secretary uniform, walked in with some information. This is the newly sent actor information from Cuckoo Entertainment, she said, and put the information on the desk in front of Li Jie. Li Jie glanced at Shen Xinyi, who was dressed in a cute secretary outfit with a hint of sex appeal. Didn't I tell you not to call me Mr. Li? Husband, Shen Xinyi called hesitantly. Li Jie waved her to his side and asked her to sit on his lap, then picked up the information on the table and started reading. These are the candidates for the heroine of the year selected from major art schools. After reading the information of several candidates, Li Jie was not satisfied. Did they really send someone to dig up Zhao Xiaodao? Thinking like this, Li Jie's eyes fell on Shen Xinyi. In fact, her appearance is suitable for Cha Sang-ian in the ears. It's just that this drama has a lot of intimate scenes, so why would he let her film intimate scenes with others? Xinyi, how about we act in a play together? Acting? What kind of drama? Shen Xian was surprised when he heard this. She is quite interested in acting. I had auditioned for The Unexpected, Crazy Lottery and Online Dating before, but I failed in all of them. You play the heroine in The Ears and I play the male lead, Li Jie said with a smile. Kudong Group has entered a period of stable development. While the company is not busy in the past few months, he can act in a play with her for fun. His appearance is not suitable for playing Xiao Nai, but he is still fine for playing Jin Ten in The Ears. Really? That's great. When Shen Xian heard this, he beamed with joy. She really didn't expect that Li Jie would let her act. Because she could tell that he didn't want her to act. In the audition for Uncanny Realm, she clearly performed better than Huo Menjian, but Li Jie still gave the role to her. Seeing Shen Xinyi so happy, Li Jie was in a good mood. The actor problem was solved and he even coaxed his girlfriend. As for him, a group boss with a net worth of hundreds of millions, is it a bit pricey to act? It doesn't matter. Anyway, he is just playing for fun, not really an actor. Besides, who among the rich doesn't have some hobbies? Jack Ma had long wanted to play Feng Qingyang, but his worth was not high enough at that time, and Zhang Dehu didn't take a fancy to him. Later, when he became the richest man, he tinkered with a movie called Gong Xiao Dao. However, if Xiao Jiao, Zhou Ziyu, Lu Kaiyu and others knew that he was going to act with Shen Xinyi, they would definitely feel unbalanced again. It's been half a month since the diamond ring incident and it's still not over. It seemed that he had to pay the IQ tax and buy each of them a diamond ring. Just when Li Jie was thinking this, someone knocked on the door again. Please come in. Lu Kaiyu opened the door and walked in. She glanced at Shen Xinyi who was sitting on Li Jie's lap. She smiled and said, "It seems I came at the wrong time." Li Jie laughed when he heard her words. "No, you came just in time." He beckoned Lu Kaiyu to his side, and then held them both in his arms. A food stealing game called Magic Farm has also been launched on Xiania.com, Lu Kaiyu said suddenly. When Li Jie heard this, the smile on his face disappeared. Xiaonei.com is opposed to the cooperation between Qwen Technology and Penguin Games. The popularity of Fun1 Farm has brought a large amount of traffic and users to the school network. Therefore, Xiaonei.com prefers that Fun1 Farm can only be operated on its own platform. This time Xiaonei.com launches Magic Farm to compete with Fun Farm, which means that the honeymoon period of cooperation between the two parties is over. Fortunately, the popularity of small games such as Qin Farm, Qin Ranch, and Grab a Parking Space have given the Qin platform a lot of traffic. Even without the support of the school network, it is not a big problem. Xiao Yu, inform Manager Zhao and Manager Yu to go to the conference room for a meeting. In the blink of an eye, more than a month has passed. The time has come in December. After Xiaonei.com's Magic Farm was launched, it became very popular, but it had little impact on Fun Farm. There are already 20 or 30 vegetable stealing games on the market, but the popularity of Fun Farm remains high, with registered users exceeding 60 million. It's just that Penguin Games' QQ Farm is developing faster. Relying on its own huge user base, the game has only been online for a month, and registered users have almost caught up with Fun Farm. After Penguin Company entered the market, the trend of people stealing food was completely launched. Stealing food has become the most popular word on the internet. All kinds of weird news about stealing food frequently broke out. Many people get up late at night or early in the morning to steal food, which even affects their normal work and life. Some experts have suggested that food stealing games should be banned. However, this game has become a gold mine for Penguin Company, so how can it be banned? In November alone, Qin Technology received more than 2 million yuan in agency revenue from Penguin Games. According to this calculation, QQ Farm has earned more than 20 million for Penguin Games. Moreover, this is only the first month. Once the game is fully promoted, the monthly revenue should reach more than 50 million. A small game can generate revenue of 5 to 6 billion a year, which is not very profitable at all. In addition, the game revenue is only a small amount for Penguin Games. The popularity of QQ Farm has brought huge traffic to the Penguin platform, and the revenue generated is the largest part. To be honest, Li Jie was really jealous after learning about Penguin Games' profits. Obviously, in terms of the number of users, Fun1 Farm has more users than QQ Farm, but it is not as good as others in terms of revenue. It seems that Qin Technology still needs to learn more from others in terms of how to make players earn money. Also, after the novel website was connected to the Penguin platform, its traffic surged and the number of users grew rapidly. The traffic of 1 month after being connected to the Penguin platform exceeded the total traffic in half a year of being online. If this continues, in just half a year, the novel website will become the second largest literary website after Kidian. However, if you want to surpass the starting point, traffic alone is not enough. It takes more time to accumulate knowledge. I really didn't want to be a warm man when I was reborn. Author, Li Yuanzhe. Chapter 325. In early November, the heirs started shooting at a bilingual middle school in Chongming. The school is located in an international ecological park, with fresh air, beautiful environment, and British style. It is very suitable for the aristocratic high school where the rich second generation in the drama attend. The filming progress of the crew is very fast, and within 1 month, half of the plot has been filmed. If Li Jie's acting wasn't holding him back, he could have filmed it faster. The leading actors in this drama, Shen Xinyi, Luan Xiaolin, and Wang Zhaining, are all newcomers with little filming experience, but their acting skills are okay, at least they don't have much problem in idol dramas. Shen Xinyi's performance surprised Li Jie even more. This is her first time filming, and she has only filmed 1 or 2 game promotional videos before, but her acting skills are remarkable. Especially when filming a crying scene. Li Jie was afraid that Shen Xian wouldn't be able to cry during filming, so he gave her some advice, asking her to put some eye drops in her eyes or eat some mustard. Because for new actors, Crying scenes are the most difficult to film. But Shen Xinyi declined his eye drops and mustard, and after only 2 or 3 minutes of brewing, he burst into tears. After watching her scene, Li Jie finally saw what a talented actor is. He originally thought that Luan Xiaolin was more talented, but compared with Shen Xian, she was still far behind. But Luan Xiaolin has more experience in shooting. After all, she has already filmed 3 dramas, Uncanny, Crazy Lottery, and those things about online dating. Compared with the two of them, Li Jie has neither talent nor experience. Every time he takes a photo, he must have done it several times. In order not to delay the filming progress, he could only find a stand-in and then shoot in groups. He would shoot some close-ups and simple close-up scenes, and leave the rest to the stand-in. In addition, in order to improve his acting skills, Li Jie often went to Shen Xinyi and Luan Xiaolin for acting advice in the evening. Of course, in order to thank them for their teachings, Li Jie also had to give them a massage to relax. On December 15, the crew of the Heirs came to the Thames town of Songjiang. Here we have to film a scene involving Li Jie, Shen Xinyi, and Wang Zhaining. Wang Zhaining plays the role of Li Jie's fiancée in the play. She is considered the third daughter. She is the heir to the largest clothing company in the country. She is equipped with a dazzling array of branded luxury goods from head to toe and has an arrogant personality. However, the third female lead is only a minor role, and she only has more roles than Luan Xiaolin, who plays the second female lead. The scene to be filmed today is Li Jie bidding farewell to his fiancée Wang Zhaining at the airport. Wang Zhaining reluctantly hugged him before leaving. This scene happened to be seen by Cinderella Shen Xinyi, who also came to the airport. Shen Xian was about to turn around and leave sadly, but was stopped by Li Jie. Before filming started, Li Jie, Shen Xinyi, and Wang Zhaining first met for the scene. Shen Xinyi wears a very ordinary blue shirt and jeans, which is also in line with her role positioning, an ordinary girl from a poor family. And Wang Zhaining is dressed very beautifully, wearing a long black skirt, a black coat on the outside, and a pair of black high heels. She looks cool and beautiful. Is there something wrong with me? Seeing Li Jie keeping looking at her, Wang Zhaining felt a little uncomfortable. It doesn't feel right. Li Jie kept looking at Wang Zhaining, not because she was beautiful, but because he thought her dress was a bit stealing the show. He waved Yu Xiangzi over and asked her to change Wang Zhaining into ordinary clothes. Yu Xiangzi took Wang Zhaining away and went to the nanny car to change clothes. After a while, the two came back. Seeing Wang Zhaining put on a windbreaker and casual pants and canvas shoes, Li Jie nodded. The fiancé of the male protagonist has a very unpleasant personality, but Wang Zhaining was forced to perform a kind of arrogance that is cute yet arrogant. In addition, she is too beautiful, and her beauty makes it even more annoying. But if the female supporting role is too outstanding, it is easy to steal the show. Fortunately, Shen Xian plays the heroine. She is innocent and lovely. If it were any other actress, Wang Zhaining would have been completely overshadowed. After reviewing the scene, filming officially started. Wang Zhaining stepped forward, hugged Li Jie reluctantly, and said arrogantly, "I haven't forgiven you yet, I really hate you." Li Jie took out his hand from his trouser pocket and wanted to hug her, but hesitated and finally put his hand back. "I see." At this time, Shen Xian walked in from the outside dragging his suitcase, and happened to see the scene of the two hugging each other. This is good. Director Lu Junjie, who was staring at the monitor, smiled and raised his head. Li Jie performed well. His expression and eyes were spot on. That's it? It was rare for Li Jie to perform well this time, and he passed with just one goal. When Wang Zhaining left, he let go of Li Jie and took 2 steps back. The two looked at each other and smiled. The next thing to take is a close-up of Shen Xinyi's expression. Li Jie stood aside and watched, when Luan Xiaolin came over. There was no part for her this year, but she still came along. She glanced at Wang's Haining not far away, smiled softly, and asked, "How do you feel?" Li Jie looked at the shooting scene in front of him. "What are you thinking about? Just being hugged by Wang's Haining, how could he feel? What have I been thinking about? I'm just asking you, how did it feel to have sex for the first time?" Luan Xiaolin said with a smile. Li Jie turned his head and looked at her. After this long-legged guy got to know him, he became more and more bold and dared to tease him. "It seems like I have to criticize and educate her again tonight." When the two of them were talking, they didn't notice that Wang's Haining, who was not far away, glanced at them. After filming the scene at the airport on the 15th, Li Jie asked the crew for leave. The next morning, he took Zhou Ziyu and two bodyguards, Shen Baishan and Lu Ji, on a plane to the United States. Li Jie went to the United States this time to sell crude oil and cash out. As soon as December entered, crude oil prices fell below $50. In the past half month, the price has been fluctuating around $45. Looking at this situation, Li Jie estimates that it will hit bottom soon and then rebound. Therefore, he must go to New York and keep an eye on it. Even if he can't wait until the price bottoms out, Li Jie will sell all crude oil at the end of this month. People can't be too greedy, it's better to be safe. He bought it at $125 per barrel. Even if he sold it at $40 per barrel, he still made a big profit. After Li Jie and his party arrived in New York, they found a 4-star hotel to stay near the futures exchange. In the next few days, Li Jie and Zhou Ziyu stayed in the VIP room of the futures exchange every day, always paying attention to the price fluctuations of crude oil. On the 17th, crude oil prices fell slightly again, closing at $40.17. On the 18th, it fell below $40 and closed at $36.73. Realizing that crude oil prices may soon hit bottom, Li Jie paid closer attention. On the 19th, the price of crude oil fell to about $33, and Li Jie couldn't help but want to sell. But he didn't throw it away in the end. He feels that crude oil prices should remain at the $30 mark for a few more days. The 20th and 21st are weekends, and the futures market is closed. Even though he no longer had to stare at crude oil, Li Jie didn't go out to play with Zhou Ziyu and just stayed in the hotel. When they got bored, the two of them would do some exercise together. When you are abroad, you still need to pay attention to safety and don't run around. Especially during this time of economic turmoil and massive unemployment. On Monday the 22nd, Li Jie, Zhou Ziyu, Shen Baishan, and Lu Ji arrived at the futures exchange early in the morning. As soon as she came to the VIP room and sat down, Zhou Ziyu said, "Hubby, I fell again." After hearing what she said, Li Jie immediately looked at the crude oil price chart on the screen. As soon as the market opened, crude oil prices fell again. From the opening price of $33.17, it fell below $32. Li Jie looked away from the big screen and logged into his trading account. He was not prepared to wait any longer and would find an opportunity to take action today. As the saying goes, be safe and don't be too greedy. Crude oil prices fluctuated around $32 throughout the morning. In the afternoon, the next price suddenly fell to $31, and Li Jie immediately started selling without hesitation. When he was selling, the price of crude oil was still falling, once falling below $31, but it rose again before the close, and finally settled at $31.06. Li Jie's $300 million in crude oil has been sold out. Looking at the extra $210 million in his account, Li Jie couldn't help but be a little stunned. Calculated at the exchange rate of 6.84 at this time, $210 million is more than 1.4 billion. 14 small goals. I made my first billion in life. Husband, how much money have you made? Zhou Ziyu couldn't help but ask when she saw that Li Jie had thrown away all the crude oil. She knew nothing about futures, and even if she watched Li Zhe's operations, she couldn't tell how much money he made. Li Zhe came back to his senses, glanced at her, and couldn't help but smile. There are 200 million in the account now. Shen Baishan and Lu Ji were both guarding the door. He and Zhou were the only ones in the VIP room, so there was nothing that couldn't be said. Besides, if you make so much money and you can't show it off to outsiders, why can't you show it off to your own woman? You made 100 million, Zhou took a breath and beamed with joy. She knew that Li Zhe took 100 million to do futures and made 100 million, doubling his capital, which was amazing. To be honest, when Zhou came to New York with Li Zhe, she was really worried after hearing that he had taken 100 million to trade futures. But she didn't understand career matters, so the only thing she could do was to believe and support Li Zhe and keep her worries in her heart. Li Zhe shook his head slightly and said with a smile, "It's not RMB, it's US dollars." US dollars, Zhou was stunned when he heard this. After more than 10 seconds, she came back to her senses and asked in disbelief, 200 million US dollars. Your principal is only 15 million US dollars. I used leverage and took some risks. Li Zhe said it easily, but he took a lot of risks. With 20 times leverage and 5% margin, the price of crude oil fluctuated slightly, and US $15 million was gone. If he hadn't known that crude oil would collapse and fall like an avalanche this year, he wouldn't have dared to play like this. Xiao, don't you like sports cars? This time I will buy you a really good sports car. With this money, he can buy copyrights, land, villas, stock up on houses, and buy. Zhou suddenly stepped forward and hugged him. Her heart was completely filled with stirring emotions. $200 million. Zhou believed that Li Zhe would definitely earn 1 billion, but she thought it would take him at least 2 or 3 years. She never thought it would be so fast. In 2 or 3 years, what will Li Zhe achieve? She couldn't imagine it. I have such a good taste and have found such a good boyfriend. Seeing her hugging him tightly, Li Zhe couldn't help but smile. Okay, don't hold me so tightly, I won't run away. Honey, I don't want a sports car, I just want you. Zhou's voice was full of tenderness. When Li Zhe heard this, he laughed again. Am I not your boyfriend? He, this little lover, got excited and spoke out everything that was on his mind. They agreed to just be lovers, but now they really want to be in a position of power. Why are you so untrustworthy? As soon as Li Zhe and Zhou returned to the hotel, he asked Shen Baishan to hire 2 bodyguards from the Blackwater Bodyguard Company. He will stay in the United States for a few more days and has a huge amount of money, so he must strengthen his own security precautions. Li Zhe will not transfer all of the US $210 million back to China. He plans to spend $60 million to buy crude oil at the bottom, and another $50 million to buy stocks in companies such as Apple and Amazon. The remaining US $100 million was transferred back to the country and used to develop companies, buy villas, and stock up on houses. On the 23rd, the next day, crude oil prices fell again. Seeing that the price of crude oil once fell below $30 and then quickly rebounded back up, Li Zhe suddenly realized that today was the bottom day. However, he had nothing to regret about this. He would rather earn less and seek stability. When the price of crude oil fell below $30, Li Zhe bought another $300 million of crude oil at the bottom. This time he only used 5 times leverage. If you have little capital, if you want to make more money, you need to take risks. But with more funds, there is no need to take risks, and more stability is required. Li Zhe stayed in New York for a few more days, bought crude oil at the bottom, and bought another $100 million in stocks in companies such as Apple and Amazon. Originally, he was only planning to buy $50 million worth of stocks, but after learning about it, he discovered that Apple's stock fell sharply in the second half of this year. From mid-August to now, the cumulative decline has reached more than 50%, which is a good time to buy the bottom. Because when the iPhone 3GS is released next year, Apple's stock will soar. In fact, it's not just Apple. The stocks of Amazon and other companies are plummeting. Therefore, after Li Jie thought about it, he spent an extra $50 million to buy stocks at the bottom. Even if Culture didn't need funds to buy copyrights at the bottom and build a copyright library, he would have spent all the money buying stocks. After buying the stocks, I transferred the remaining $50 million back to China, and there was no money in the account again. Li Jie, who had been excited for several days because he had earned his first billion, calmed down again. The more money he made, the more he felt that it was not enough. If he had more funds in hand, he could buy more Apple and Amazon stocks at the bottom. However, before the iPhone 3GS is released next year, no matter how much the price of crude oil can rise, Li Jie is ready to sell the $300 million in crude oil and buy more Apple stocks. In addition, Li Jie also learned about Bitcoin and found that the concept of Bitcoin was only proposed in October this year and has not yet come out. I really didn't want to be a warm man when I was reborn. Author, Li Jie. Chapter 326. Bitcoin is just a leak-cutting game fueled by capital speculation. Buy a small amount and cash out in batches when the price rises. It's not a big problem to make a fortune. But if you hoard too much, you won't be able to cash it out. People's capital is not stupid. On December 27, under the escort of 2 Blackwater bodyguards, Li Jie and his party arrived at the New York airport and took a flight back to China. After returning to the Shanghai Stock Exchange, take a night's rest to get rid of the jet lag. The next day, Li Jie took Zhou Ziyu and Lu Kaiyu to buy a house and a car. In the past month or two, he asked Lu Kaiyu to collect a lot of suitable houses, including those in Shanghai, Shenzhen, Sanya, Beijing and other major cities in the country. In the second half of today, affected by the economic crisis, house prices have plummeted, which is a good time to buy a house at the bottom. It's just that I didn't have the funds to hoard a house before, but now I do. $50 million, calculated at the exchange rate of 6.84 at this time, is $342 million. Li Jie plans to spend 150 million yuan to hoard copyrights, and another 100 million yuan to invest in Kudong Group, and open a few more companies to further improve the pan-entertainment industry chain. Of the more than 90 million left, more than 40 million were used to buy villas, and the last 50 million were all used to store houses. As soon as they arrived at the sales office on the Bund, Li Jie, Zhou Ziyu, and Lu Kaiyu had just gotten off the Audi A8L. The young sales lady who had been waiting at the door immediately greeted them with a smile. "Mr. Li, Secretary Lu, you are here. $1 million Audi A8L, a beautiful secretary, a beautiful girlfriend, and 2 beauties accompany her." The sales lady knew that Li Jie was a high-quality resource customer, so how could she not be enthusiastic? Li Jie just nodded to the sales lady. "The other party is not beautiful, only comely." The 3 of them went to see the house under the guidance of the sales lady. Next to the Bund, 120 square meters, 3 bedrooms, and 2 living rooms. After looking at the house, Li Jie returned to the sales office, negotiated the price with the sales lady, and bought the house. The price of this community rose to more than 30,000 square meters per square meter in the first half of this year, but now it has dropped back to more than 20,000 square meters. The down payment for a 120 square meter house is only 1 million. If 1 million yuan is put aside for more than 10 years, it will only be able to buy an ordinary house in a 3rd or 4th tier city. After signing the contract, Li Jie said to Lu Kaiyu, "Xiaoyu, please contact the decoration design company and decorate it the way you like." He bought this house to Lu Kaiyu, and Zhou Ziyu already had a house on the Bund. The 130 square meter house with 3 bedrooms and 2 living rooms was renovated in August. After 2 or 3 months of wind, Zhou Ziyu and Zhou Qing moved in November. The sales lady glanced at Li Jie and Lu Kaiyu, then at Zhou Ziyu. You brought your girlfriend with you to buy a house for your female secretary, and your girlfriend wasn't angry at all? If you have money, you can really do anything. After coming out of the sales office, Li Jie took Zhou Ziyu and Lu Kaiyu to buy another house. Now Xiaoqiao, Zhou Ziyu, Lu Kaiyu, and Shen Xinyi, his 4 girlfriends all have houses on the Bund, but he is the only one who does not have a house. Li Jie must buy himself a better house. Beijianwan Mansion is one of the best residential areas in Shanghai. It is located in the core area of the Bund, only 100 meters away from the Huangpu River, and has first-line river view rooms. Panoramic view of Lujia's Y on the Bund. This community cost 55,000 square meters in the first half of the year, but now it only costs 35,000, a total drop of 20,000. What Li Jie chose was a 360 square meter apartment with 4 bedrooms and 2 living rooms on the 32nd floor. Standing in front of the 270-degree corner window of the master bedroom, overlooking the scenery of the Bund not far away, he immediately fell in love with this house. This community is even better than Thomson Yupin in terms of location. Thomson Yupin's house is just a hype to deceive people. After 15 or 16 years of selling, half of the houses are still unsold, which speaks volumes. Not only Li Jie was attracted by this house, but Zhou Ziyu and Lu Kaiyu were also attracted by it. Especially Zhou Ziyu, her eyes showed her love. The 130 square meter house with 3 bedrooms and 2 living rooms that Li Jie bought for her was better than Xiaoqiao's small duplex apartment in terms of location, but it was still incomparable to this house. Their house can only be said to be near the Bund, but this house is a real river view house, right on the edge of the Bund. Zhou Ziyu glanced at Li Jie subconsciously. As long as she married him, she could legitimately live in the master bedroom of this house. The remaining 3 rooms can be reserved for Xiaoqiao, Lu Kaiyu, and Shen Xinyi. Thinking like this, she glanced at Lu Kaiyu again. How much does this house cost per square meter? Li Jie turned around and asked the sales lady on the side. In high-end real estate, the sales lady's appearance is also much better. This sales lady is fair-skinned, tall, and looks pretty good. This house is one of the best riverview houses in the whole building. The price is relatively expensive, 78,500 square meters, but I can give you a 92% discount, the sales lady said with a smile. 35,000 square meters is only the price of a house below the 15th floor in a low-end area. This house is a riverview room in a high-end area, so the price is definitely not cheap. Li Jie listened and nodded. The first-line riverview house on the Bund also comes with fine decoration, covering an area of 771 square meters, and 360 square meters means more than 27 million yuan. This price is only available this year. When housing prices rise next year, it will cost more than 100,000 yuan. After more than 10 years, this set is worth 1 or 2 billion. However, the only bad thing is that the house is not big enough, with only 4 bedrooms and a nanny's room. How to arrange 4 bedrooms for 5 people? His 4 girlfriends will definitely start fighting again. I want this house, Li Jie said directly to the sales lady. The current price is already the lowest price, and it will be difficult to negotiate the price. The total price is 27.7 million, and the 3-digit down payment is 8.3 million. After signing the house purchase contract, paying the down payment by swiping the card, you got the keys. Zhou Ziyu glanced at the key in Li Jie's hand, and then said, "Honey, can you leave the decoration of this house to me? This house is a high-end apartment that comes with its own fine decoration. You only need to buy some furniture, electrical appliances, and decorations." Lu Kaiyu glanced at Zhou Ziyu and said to Li Jie, "Husband, let me be responsible for the decoration, right?" "Okay, stop arguing." Seeing them arguing now, Li Jie's head hurt again. Xiao Yu, you too, Xiao Jiao and Xin Yi discuss the layout together. After buying the house, Li Jie took Zhou Ziyu and Lu Kaiyu, and then went to buy a car. Went to the Porsche 4 store and ordered a new 911 for each of them. In addition, he also ordered a sports car for himself. A new Lamborghini Bat LP 640 has a landing price of more than 5 million. This is also Li Jie's first sports car in his life. The day after buying the house, Xiao Jiao heard that Li Jie had bought the main house and immediately flew from Hongcheng to Shanghai. She couldn't let Zhou Ziyu take over the master bedroom. That afternoon, the four of them, Xiao Jiao, Zhou Ziyu, Lu Kaiyu, and Shen Xinyi, and Li Jie came to the Platinum Bay mansion again. After walking around the house, Xiao Jiao and Shen Xinyi also fell in love with this house. When the four of them were discussing how to decorate the house, as expected by Li Jie, they soon started to quarrel. Seeing that they were getting more and more noisy and had a tendency to take action, Li Jie had no choice but to stop them. Okay, stop arguing. Husband, how do you plan it? Xiao Jiao, Zhou Ziyu, Lu Kaiyu, and Shen Xinyi all looked at him at the same time. Seeing the four of them waiting for him to be the referee, Li Jie suddenly had a headache. Forget it, none of you should decorate it. I'll find a designer to decorate it. Also, Xiao Jiao, you and Xiaoyu will live in the same room, and Ziyu and Xinyi will live in the same room. After hearing Li Jie's arrangement, Xiao Jiao, Zhou Ziyu, Lu Kaiyu, and Shen Xinyi looked at each other. Although they were not satisfied, they all nodded. Li Jie glanced at them and said, "Tomorrow we will go see the villa. There is no need to fight this time. The house is big enough and everyone has a room." On the morning of December 30th, Li Jie drove the four of them, Xiao Jiao, Zhou Ziyu, Lu Kaiyu, and Shen Xinyi, in an Audi A8L to the Tangong Villa area on the bank of the Huangpu River on Hongqiao Road. Tan Palace is one of the top luxury houses in the country. It is adjacent to the Zijiao Hotel that receives heads of state. There are only 18 buildings in total. The architectural styles include British royal family, French Fontainebleau, Italian Florence, etc. Each villa has 3 floors and a basement, with a minimum construction area of 1,600 square meters and a large one of more than 2,000 square meters. Currently, 15 of the 18 villas have been sold, and only 3 are left. Li Jie has long been interested in an Italian Florentine-style villa in Tan Palace. But this villa is too expensive, costing 150 million. And you need to pay a deposit of 10 million, refundable, before viewing the house. When they arrived at the sales office, Li Jie and the others were greeted by a male manager in his 30s named Xiao and a young sales lady named Guo. It can only be said that the more high-end the property, the prettier the sales lady will be. This sales lady surnamed Guo has a graceful figure and very good looks. She is dressed in black silk professional attire with black silk stockings, which looks very eye-catching. The male manager and the sales lady were not surprised at all when Li Jie brought 4 beautiful girls to see the villa. People who come to Tangong to view villas have a net worth of at least 100 million, and those with little money cannot even afford the 10 million deposit. For people of this class, having several beautiful women is too normal. After listening to the male manager surnamed Xiao introduce the situation of Tan Palace, Li Jie and the others went to the villa area to view houses under the guidance of the sales lady surnamed Guo. The sales lady surnamed Guo introduced herself as Guo Wenkai. She walked with a swaying grace and full of femininity. The Italian Florentine-style villa that Li Jie was interested in was located in the southeast corner of the villa area. After entering the villa, Guo Wenkai introduced the layout of the villa while leading Li Jie and the others around. The property area of the villa is 1160.8 at 458.32 underground, covering an area of 2437.12, with a private garden of about 1500, 3 garages and 5 parking spaces. There are 6 ensuite bedrooms, 7 bathrooms, 2 terraces, an indoor swimming pool and an indoor elevator. The appearance of the villa is beautiful, but the interior is rough, with only white walls, ceilings, and cement floors, which makes it look very simple. Xiaoqiao, Zhouziu, Lucayu, and Shen Xinyi were far less interested in this villa than in the apartment in Platinum Bay Mansion. After all, the view from the suite was great and it was well decorated. A villa worth more than RMB 100 million cannot be decided on at once, so after looking at the house, Li Jie and the others got in the car and left. "Honey, how much does this villa cost?" In the car, Xiaoqiao, who was sitting on the right side of the back seat, asked. The four of them competed for the passenger seat, and Li Jie asked them to guessing. Xiaoqiao was unlucky and lost both times. The person who won the first time was Lu Kaiyu, and the second time it was Shen Xinyi. 150 million, Li Jie said while driving. 150 million? The four of them were shocked. Fortunately for Zhouziu, she had seen Li Jie earn $200 million in one visit in New York, and her mental endurance had improved a lot. Xiaoqiao, Lu Kaiyu, and Shen Xinyi were all a little hard to accept. "This is too expensive," Xiaoqiao couldn't help but say. "How much does a 3-story building cost?" "The house is definitely not worth that much, what is valuable is the location," Li Jie said. Just like a dozen years later, a house with an area of several dozen square meters in the capital would be worth hundreds or tens of millions, but if it were to be placed in the Northeast, it would not be worth tens of thousands. "Honey, it's too expensive, so why don't you buy it?" Xiaoqiao said again. "Didn't you just buy a villa? We need a better villa as the main residence. The villa in Sheshan is not suitable. Besides, we definitely can't get as much as they want. The price needs to be negotiated slowly." After deciding to buy a sea view villa in Sanya, Li Jie felt that the villa in Sheshan was a bit redundant. If you want to take a vacation, it is obviously better to go to Sanya. After watching the villa, Li Jie asked Xiaoqiao, Zhouziu, Lu Kaiyu, and Shen Xinyi to go back to school the next day. Now that it's the final exam period, it's time for them to take the exam. Li Jie did not discuss the matter of the villa in person, but left it to his assistant Anya. Let her go talk to the developer of Tan Palace. Starting from January 1st, Li Jie began to travel around the country to stock up on houses. 3 sets in Beijing, 2 sets in Shenzhen City, and 1 set in Sanya. Among the 3 houses in Beijing, one is a high-end apartment with 5 bedrooms and 3 living rooms, a duplex with 2 floors and 380 square meters, and the other 2 are ordinary residences with more than 100 square meters. The 2 units in Shenzhen City are also ordinary residences. The one in Sanya is a 4-story, 6-room, 700 square meter top sea view villa, only 30 meters away from the seaside. In addition, Li Jie also bought a house in 7 or 8 second-tier cities such as Hangcheng, Jiangning, Tanzhou, Zhongcheng, and Chongqing. He has houses in Xishan, Hangcheng, Tanzhou, and Yuchun, so that he will have a place to live when he goes home with Xiaoqiao, Zhouziu, Lu Kaiyu, and Shen Xinyi. By the way, Li Jie also bought a house in Hongcheng. Luan Xiaolin is from Hongcheng. In order to buy these houses, Li Jie traveled for more than half a month and spent a total of 40 million including the 2 houses in Shanghai. This is still troublesome for him. All the houses in second-tier cities are fully paid, or they cost less. With the remaining 10 million, Li Jie plans to buy a few more houses in Shanghai. And hoarding so many houses is almost enough, and too much is useless. In terms of investment income, hoarding houses is far inferior to buying stocks. It was already January 17 when Li Jie returned to Shanghai. The Chinese New Year was less than 10 days away, and the school had already gone on winter vacation. Xiaoqiao, Lu Kaiyu, and Shen Xinyi all went home after taking the exam. Before the Chinese New Year, they will come to Shanghai again to celebrate the New Year with Li Jie. Anya had been negotiating with the developer for the villa in Tan Palace for more than 2 months. The price finally negotiated was 125 million, and a down payment of 30% was more than 37 million. Not only is this villa expensive, but it is also expensive to maintain. The property fee alone is 100,000 yuan a month, and more than 1 million yuan a year. Li Jie bought this villa mainly because of its location. High-end villas near the urban area of Shanghai are relatively rare. Tangong Villa is also close to the Zijiao Hotel, and its quality is high enough. As a future billionaire, he must have a main house that can support his appearance. Scumbag, no, it was Li Jie who got a little carried away after making his first billion. No longer meeting the goal of 10 billion, I am thinking about moving towards 100 billion. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I really didn't want to be a warm man when I was reborn. Author, Li Yuanzhe. Chapter 327. Sitting in the Audi A8L, we returned to the Platinum Bay mansion. For this apartment, Li Jie asked Anya to find a well-known interior designer in Shanghai to make soft decoration. It cost 2 to 3 million and was decorated extremely luxuriously. After getting off the bus, Li Jie asked Shen Basehan to leave and gave him a holiday to go home and spend time with his family during the new year. For more than half a month, he traveled around the country, and Shen Basehan followed him. When he bought a house, he was responsible for running errands, which was also hard work. As soon as they returned to the apartment, they saw Zhou Ziyu and Zhou Qing sitting on the sofa together, watching TV and eating snacks. Li Jie was not surprised that Zhou Ziyu was in the apartment. He saw her Porsche Boxster S in the parking lot. "Honey, you're back." Seeing Li Jie open the door and walk in, Zhou Ziyu immediately got up from the sofa and greeted him with a face of joy. "Xiao Jie, you're back." Zhou Qing also stood up and greeted warmly. "Auntie," Li Jie smiled and nodded to Zhou Qing. Zhou Ziyu helped him take off his coat and helped him get his slippers. Li Jie glanced at his little lover and couldn't help but feel something in his heart. Zhou Ziyu only wore a black suspender pajama, which was very cool and looked indescribably charming and sexy. Li Jie has been traveling all over the country for more than half a month. On weekends, he has to go back to the crew to catch up on filming, which is even harder than 996. He was somewhat neglectful of his 4 girlfriends and 1 lover. It seems that I have to make it up to her these days. Scumbag, no, Li Jie completely forgot about returning to the set to film last weekend and reading the luminous script with Luan Xiaolin at night. And a few days ago, when I went to Hongcheng to buy a house, I took Xiao Qiao to stay in a hotel for 1 night. "Xiao Jie, what do you want to eat?" "I'll make it for you," Zhou Qing said with a smile. Li Jie took another look at Zhou Qing and found that his mother-in-law was wearing a white suspender pajamas and was dressed very sexy. "Auntie, just watch and do it." Zhou Qing went to the kitchen to cook, and Li Jie took Zhou Ziyu to the master bedroom. "Husband," looking at Li Jie's eyes, Zhou Ziyu knew something was going to happen. However, Li Jie was not as impatient as she thought. He took out a small gift box from his pants pocket. "Gift," Zhou Ziyu took the gift. "Open it and take a look," Li Jie said with a smile. When Zhou Ziyu opened the box, she found a very beautiful diamond bracelet. Ever since he gave Shen Xin a large 1.86-carat diamond ring, which was a bad start, Li Jie has been paying IQ tax frequently. When he went to Hongcheng a few days ago, he also gave Xiao Qiao a 1-carat diamond necklace. "Like it?" Zhou Ziyu glanced at Li Jie, smiled and nodded, "Yeah." In fact, she was a little disappointed. She thought it was a diamond ring, but she didn't expect it to be a bracelet. "Let me put it on for you." Li Jie took Zhou Ziyu's hand, took the bracelet, and put it on her white wrist. "It's beautiful." Zhou Ziyu nodded and looked at the bracelet on her wrist with fondness in her beautiful eyes. The little disappointment in her heart all dissipated. This bracelet is really beautiful. Besides, when a boy gives his girlfriend a bracelet, it means that he will be tied to her and stay with her for life. The meaning is also very good. However, what Joseo didn't know was that when Li Jie said it was so beautiful, he was not referring to the bracelet, but to her hands. Her slender white hands look even more beautiful against the backdrop of the diamond bracelet. Come, let's go to the window and have a look. Li Jie took her hand and came to the large French window with a 270-degree corner. Under the sun, every diamond on the bracelet shines brightly. Seeing Joseo staring at the bracelet intently, Li Jie shook his head slightly in his heart. Why do girls like such shiny things? He turned his head and looked out the French window. Overlooking the scenery of the Huangpu River and the Oriental Pearl Tower, Jinmao Tower, World Financial Center and other high-rise buildings opposite, Li Jie felt a sense of pride in his heart. This is the meaning of making money, seeing the scenery from a higher place, and having your lover be obedient to you. Zhou Qing was busy in the kitchen for more than 40 minutes, carefully cooking 5 or 6 dishes. There is also a nourishing soup that Li Jie likes to drink. After putting 5 dishes and 1 soup on the table, I found that Li Jie and Joseo hadn't come out of the master bedroom yet. Zhou Qing came to the bedroom door and knocked lightly. After waiting for a while, there was no movement. She shook her head and left. The first time she and Joseo came to Beijinwan Mansion, she was shocked. So luxurious. The large apartment of 360 square meters is as magnificent as a palace. Zhou Qing felt that Joseo's 130 square meter house with 3 bedrooms and 2 living rooms was luxurious enough and could be considered a luxury home. But compared with this apartment, it is just an ordinary house. This is a real mansion. Especially the 270-degree corner floor-to-ceiling window in the master bedroom, Zhou Qing likes it so much. The beautiful scenery of Huangpu River and the Bund is unobstructed. Living here, you can enjoy the beautiful scenery of the Bund at any time. The price of this apartment, 27.7 million, made Zhou Qing even more speechless. Her daughter's life is really good. She can meet a man like Li Jie and live in such a top-notch mansion. She was even a little jealous of her daughter. Zhou Qing sat on the sofa and waited for a while. The food was a little cold, but Li Jie and Joseo hadn't come out yet. She was going to take the dishes to the kitchen to heat them up. At this time, the door of the master bedroom opened, and Li Jie walked out with Joseo in his arms. Joseo's cheeks were slightly red and she leaned in his arms, looking lazy. Li Jie glanced at the food on the table that was already a little cold and said, "Auntie, Xiao and I talked for a while and kept you waiting." He is telling lies with his eyes open. But Zhou Qing seemed to really believe it, and said with a smile, "You haven't seen each other for a while, it's time to chat for a while. The food is a bit cold, I'll heat it up." Zhou Qing went to heat up the dishes, while Li Jie and Joseo went to the bathroom to wash up. During the meal, Zhou Qing kept helping Li Jie pick up the food, taking away all the work from Joseo. "Xiao Jie, you work so hard, eat more." "Auntie, don't just pick up the vegetables for me, you also eat the vegetables." Li Jie's bowl was full of vegetables. His mother-in-law is so enthusiastic. Zhou Qing looked at Li Jie who was eating, with a smile on her face. She was going to sign up for a cooking class and learn how to cook. She found that this apartment had a nanny's room, and it would be nice to live here as a nanny. After eating, Li Jie looked at the time and found that it was already past 1 p.m. In the afternoon, he had a scene to shoot on the crew side. "Xiao, please accompany me to the crew for filming. After filming is over, we will go watch a movie." "Okay," Joseo smiled and nodded. Of course she would like to stay with him for a while. The two changed their clothes and left the apartment together. Going downstairs to the parking lot, Li Jie didn't drive his Audi A8L, but got into Joseo's Porsche Boxster S. To put it bluntly, in the parking lot of this community, Joseo's entry-level Porsche can only be considered average. Lamborghini, Aston Martin, Bentley, Land Rover, etc., luxury cars costing tens of millions are everywhere. The red Porsche convertible roared out of the community and headed towards Chongming district. Li Jie leaned on the seat and glanced at Zhou Ziyu, who was driving. This little lover, always exudes an elegant temperament. Even driving the car is so elegant. Don't get me wrong, Li Jie is really talking about driving. If she hadn't looked exactly like Zhou Qing, and they looked like mother and daughter at first glance, he would have even suspected that she was a rich girl who had been miscarried and was living abroad. Then, Li Jie thought of Xiao Qiao again. The president is fun to drive. There is always a feeling of being in a hurry. After more than 2 months of filming, the drama The Heirs is almost finished. When the crew members saw Li Jie and Zhou Ziyu coming, they all greeted him enthusiastically. "Mr. Li." "Hello, Mr. Li." Li Jie actually told the crew that he didn't need to be called Mr. Li on the crew, but they didn't listen. He could only let them go. Only director Lin Junjie would directly call him by his name during filming. But in private, he also calls him Mr. Li. Actresses Wang Zhaining, Luan Xiaolin, and Nini were resting in the dressing room. While Shen Xian was away, her scenes had already been filmed. As for Nini, she also participated in the drama The Heirs, playing the role of a teacher at the aristocratic middle school where Li Jie and Luan Xiaolin studied. Luan Xiaolin listened to assistant Zheng Hui say that Li Jie was here, and immediately got up and went out. Nini looked at her leaving back with a strange look in her eyes. Then, she glanced at Wang Zhaining beside her and found that he was reading the script seriously, looking indifferent. Luan Xiaolin came to the shooting scene excitedly. When she saw Li Jie, she was about to say hello to him when she noticed Zhou Ziyu next to him. She swallowed the words that reached her lips, and the smile on her face disappeared. Zhou Ziyu also saw Luan Xiaolin and noticed her expression. Li Jie asked Zhou Ziyu to walk around the school where the filming was taking place, while he went to the dressing room to put on makeup and change clothes. However, after Li Jie left, Zhou Ziyu did not walk around the school, but walked towards Luan Xiaolin. Male actors put on makeup relatively quickly. After changing his clothes and putting on some simple makeup, Li Jie came out of the dressing room. He met Nini in the corridor, who had just come out of the women's dressing room. "Mr. Li," Nini greeted Li Jie with a smile. Li Jie nodded to her. He didn't know much about Nini. He had only seen her in a movie called Waiting for the Wind. I haven't even watched her masterpiece 13 Hairpins. However, Nini's appearance can be pure and charming, and she has a good figure, so she is indeed very attractive. Just a bit loud. "Mr. Li, thank you for giving me the opportunity," Nini said again. Li Jie always leaves right after filming and never stays on the set. In addition, the two of them don't have many scenes opposite each other, so this is the first time she has had private contact with Li Jie. Li Jie glanced at her, smiled and said, "You don't have to thank me, your appearance is indeed more suitable for Bai Weiwei. Just work hard and play the role well." "Mr. Li, I will definitely work hard to play the role well," Nini promised. The two walked out while talking. After chatting for a while, Nini said, "Mr. Li, can you leave me a phone number?" After saying that, she quickly explained, "I have no other intention, I just want to have the opportunity to ask you for more advice." Li Jie looked at her pure face and suddenly remembered a short interview video he had seen. "Greedy, you can't get me anyway." "Sure." Li Jie was not in good condition today. He was always ungrateful during the filming. The filming lasted until about 7 o'clock in the evening before he finished filming his scene. After taking off his makeup and changing his clothes, Li Jie came out of the dressing room and said to Zhou Ziyu, "A bit boring, right?" Zhou Ziyu smiled and said, "No, I'm quite interested in watching you guys filming." "Let's go watch a movie." Li Jie hugged her and walked out. "What movie are we watching?" "The Strange Realm. The first movie invested by Cuckoo Entertainment, Uncanny, was released on Christmas Day, December 25. Before the release, in addition to the regular trailers, and posters, some promotions were also done on the Qwen game platform and Qio literature. Overall, the publicity efforts can only be regarded as passing. It is a low-budget film with limited publicity and distribution expenses. In the first week since its release, the low-budget horror film The Realm unexpectedly took in more than 4 million yuan at the box office. In the second week, it took in more than 6 million yuan at the box office. The total box office in the 2 weeks after its release exceeded 10 million. For a small-budget horror film, it is definitely a dark horse at the box office. Director Su Zheng instantly became famous in the industry. Some media even called him the second genius director after Ning Hao. In addition, the movie's reputation is pretty good, at least it hasn't been criticized and labeled as a bad movie by critics and the media like many domestic horror movies. The Douban score is 6.1, which proves that this movie still barely passes. The most criticized aspect of the movie is that it is a bit unfinished. It is very suspenseful at the beginning and ends when the heroine escapes from a near-death experience. In the third week, the box office dropped to more than 3 million. As the popularity of movies decreases and piracy becomes rampant, the box office will naturally suffer. However, more than 20 days after its release, Uncanny still ranks second on the domestic horror film box office list with a total box office of more than 14 million. The first place is the movie Deep Sea, released in June this year, with a total box office of 20.9 million. However, the director of this movie is Su Ke, a great director in Hong Kong. At this time, there is less than a week left before Unexpected is released, and the final box office is expected to be a little more than 15 million. But for Cuckoo Entertainment, this box office is considered a profit. The cost of filming, publicity and distribution of Unexpected Realm was only over 3 million. As the producer, Cuckoo Entertainment can probably get 36%, which is more than 5.4 million. After deducting the costs, I made more than 2 million yuan. Therefore, it is really not profitable to make movies now. The Unexpected is a hit, otherwise it will definitely lose money. Although they didn't make much money, at least Cuckoo Entertainment gained a bit of fame in the industry. I really didn't want to be a warm man when I was reborn. Author, Li Yuanzhe. Chapter 328. Li Zhe was also a little surprised that Uncanny Realm received such high votes. Originally, his goal was not to lose money, but he could accept a smaller loss. It seems that domestic horror films still have some potential. If the cost of filming and publicity is reduced to an extremely low level, it will not be difficult to make back the money or make a small profit. After all, there is still a certain market for domestic horror films. Many couples like to watch horror films when they go to the movies on a date. As long as the box office barely recovers the money, the movie will make a profit. Because, in addition to box office revenue, movies also have other benefits. Copyright income, peripheral income, advertising income, etc. For example, the copyright of Uncanny was sold to TV stations, various set-top box on-demand platforms, and broadcast platforms on airplanes, cars, and trains, etc., allowing these platforms to play it within a certain period of time. There are also online copyrights and a small amount of pre-roll advertising income. These bits and pieces of income add up to at least 2 to 3 million, or even more. Adding in box office revenue and other revenue, Unexpected earned between 5 and 6 million. For many movies, box office is only used to cover costs, and making money depends on other income. The two of them drove to a movie theater where Unexpected was showing. Uncanny has been in theaters for more than 20 days and is about to be released. The single-day box office is getting lower and lower, and the film schedule is getting less and less. When he came to the cinema, Li Zhe bought 2 couple tickets. After waiting for a while, he and Zhou Ziyu entered the cinema together. As the screening is approaching, the attendance rate of the movie is not high. There were only a dozen people in the cinema, mostly young lovers. Soon, the lights in the theater dimmed and the movie started. Lee Jae was eating popcorn fed by Joseo and watching a movie. When the movie opens, there are 7 or 8 passengers on a small bus, sleeping, chatting, watching the scenery, and doing whatever they want. The driver was a middle-aged man in his 40s, listening to the radio while driving. There was a sudden bang sound, and the car shook suddenly, as if it hit something. The driver subconsciously stepped on the brakes and the car was forcibly stopped. A fat man, Yang Hao, who was sleeping in the car, under the influence of inertia, hit his head directly on the front seat and screamed in pain, "Oh, Driver, how do you drive?" Passengers complained. "It seems I hit something." The driver quickly got out of the car to check and found that nothing had been hit. The chin is on the road again. However, someone soon discovered something was wrong. "Why did it suddenly get dark?" said a young woman, Yeshan, dressed as a white-collar worker. Not only did it get dark, there was also a strange black mist on both sides of the highway. This abnormal phenomenon made the passengers in the car a little confused. "My mobile phone has no signal," a young girl, Huo Menjian, who looks like a female student said. "My mobile phone has no signal either." People in the car took out their mobile phones one after another, only to find that they had no signal. Not only did the mobile phone have no signal, but the radio playing in the car also lost signal and turned into a rustling sound. At this time, the car suddenly stopped again. "What are you parking for again? Master, why did you stop the car? This section of road is so weird that the passengers want to get out of here as soon as possible and are very dissatisfied with the driver's sudden stop." But the driver never responded. A bald middle-aged man in his 30s, Su Zheng, got up and came to the driver's side. He found that the driver's left hand was on the steering wheel and his right hand was resting on a black box beside him. His expression was dull and confused, and he was mumbling something. "What did I forget? What did I forget? Why can't I remember?" Yang Hao also came over. He looked carefully at the black box under the driver's right hand. It turned out to be an urn. There is a white note on the urn, with a name written in black on it, Zhang Liman. "Why is there not a single car on the highway?" a girl, Luan Xiaolin, dressed as a stewardess said suddenly. The people on the bus noticed that except for their minibus, no other vehicles passed by. The middle-aged driver died. He suddenly slammed his head on the front window. The passengers in the car were frightened, and Su Zheng volunteered to drive everyone away. The sky was getting darker and darker, until it was completely dark, and there was still not a single car on the highway. Just when the passengers were getting more and more scared, a light suddenly appeared in front of them, and it was a gas station. It was also the first time for Li Jie to watch the finished film of Unexpected Realm. He had only seen the rough cut before. After Zhang Jingxian joined Cuckoo Entertainment, he handed over the film's production supervision to her. He now somewhat understands why Uncanny has such a high box office. After fine editing and soundtrack, the movie's pace is faster, the suspenseful atmosphere is stronger, and it is more attractive to the audience. In addition, it is the beauty effect. Luan Xiaolin, Huo Menjian, and Yeshan are all beauties. Especially when Wang Zhaining appeared on the stage, Li Jie heard someone in the theater saying, "This actress is so beautiful." For many male viewers, a movie ticket that costs 30 or 40 is already worth it if they can see so many beauties. As long as the plot is not too bad, they can accept it. Luan Xiaolin acted very well, Joseo said softly. When Li Jie heard this, he was stunned for a moment. Luan Xiaolin's acting skills were acceptable. But in the movie, she is just a minor supporting role and has very few scenes. Why did Joseo deliberately mention her? She couldn't really have guessed anything. Wang Zhaining plays a female star in The Strange World, and Huo Lily is her assistant. Su Zheng, Yang Hao, Yeshan, Huo Menjian, and Luan Xiaolin came to the supermarket at the gas station and met Wang Zhaining and Huo Lily. And a middle-aged man who ate instant noodles crazily and choked to death. There is also an urn next to him with his name written on it. Su Zheng and Yang Hao found each other's driving book and business card on the middle-aged man's body and found that he was a large cargo driver. Next, black urns appeared again and again, and people continued to die mysteriously. Yeshan, Huo Lily. Everyone will mutter, "I forgot something," before they die. There are more and more weird things happening, such as large trucks that drive autonomously without a driver. A mysterious man who is surrounded by black mist and attacks anyone he sees. In the end, only Su Zheng and Wang Zhaining were left. At the critical moment, the two found the truth from the clues they collected, escaped from the mysterious realm, and woke up in the ambulance. At the end of the movie, there is a news report. A serious traffic accident occurred on the Times highway section. A large truck suddenly lost control while driving and collided with a minibus and a car one after another. In this accident, 9 people died and 2 were injured. The movie ended and the theater lights came on. The audience left the scene while discussing the content of the movie. The plot is a bit far-fetched. It is said that he was near death in a car accident. How do you explain the mysterious man in the mysterious realm? The heroine is very beautiful. She must be a newcomer, I haven't seen her before. Li Jie and Zhou Ziyu also followed the flow of people out of the cinema. A small county in Ludong province. In the screening room of the cinema, He Zhigang was also watching the unexpected. Looking at Huo Menjian on the big screen, he felt very complicated inside. Now He Zhigang and Huo Menjian have basically no contact. The two of them met occasionally at school, and they just nodded and said hello to each other. After coming out of the cinema, He Zhigang took out his mobile phone and wanted to send a message to Huo Menjian. But he hesitated for a while and still didn't send it. In fact, this is not the first time He Zhigang has watched Uncanny Realm. He went to see the movie as soon as it came out. After reading it, he sent a congratulatory text message to Huo Menjian. But the other party only replied with a thank you. He Zhigang sighed and put the phone away again. After coming out of the cinema, Li Jie and Zhou Ziyu took a look at the night view together. When the two returned to the apartment, it was already past 11 p.m. But Zhou Qing has not left yet. "Xiao Jie, you are back. I made some soup for you. You can drink some," Zhou Qing said, and went to the kitchen to bring out a bowl of wolfberry, red dates, and white fungus soup. "Thank you, Aunt." Li Jie took the soup and drank it slowly. His mother-in-law's cooking skills are average, but she is really good at making soup. Zhou Qing said to Zhou Ziyu again, "Xiao, if you want to drink soup, just go and serve it yourself." Zhou Ziyu glanced at Zhou Qing, her mother was too partial. She didn't even think about it. Without a daughter, how could she have a son-in-law? Zhou Qing looked at Li Jie who was drinking soup and said, "Xiao Jie, drink slowly and I will go back." "Auntie, it's so late, don't go back, stay here." Li Jie put down the soup bowl. Zhou Qing didn't leave until so late. He couldn't tell what she was thinking. "Okay then," Zhou Qing hesitated for a moment and then agreed. "I can just stay in that small room." "Auntie, you are an elder, how can you be allowed to live in the nanny's room?" After saying that, Li Jie said to Zhou Ziyu, "Xiao, don't you have another room? Help my aunt clean it up." "Auntie, you can stay in that room from now on." When Zhou Ziyu heard this, he was stunned for a moment. She and Shen Xinyi shared a room, but her mother had a separate room. Why does this feel a little wrong? For the next 2 days, Li Jie stayed on the set filming. On the 19th, the filming of the heirs ended and was officially completed. On the evening of the 20th, Kudong Group held the company's annual meeting. More than 800 employees of the group participated in the annual meeting. At the annual meeting, Li Jie reviewed and summarized the company's development in the previous year, and then proposed next year's development goals. After he finished speaking, Zhao Jie, Yu Zhongfeng, Zhang Jingxian and other senior executives of the group also said a few words in turn. After the leader's speech, the annual meeting entered the entertainment session. There will be performances and raffles. The performers at the annual meeting are all talented employees of the company. Artists signed by Cuckoo Entertainment such as Wang Zhaining, Luan Xiaolin, Huo Menjian, Zhao Yuhuan, and Nini are the main performers. At the annual meeting, Li Jie was very angry and took out millions. Everyone has a prize, with a minimum of 100 yuan in red envelopes. There are also great prizes such as mobile phones, laptops, digital cameras, and 10,000 yuan red envelopes. The special prize at the annual meeting is a car worth about RMB 100,000. Li Jie was unlucky and only won a red envelope worth 100 yuan, while Lu Kai won a mobile phone worth 1,000 yuan. But she doesn't lack mobile phones, so she just gives away a 1,000 yuan phone like this. The winner of the special prize was Huo Menjian. Li Jie handed Huo Menjian a large cardboard with a picture of a car that represented the special prize and took a photo with her. Unlike some companies that conduct draws based on job titles, Li Jie's draw was really nothing shady, it was all about luck. Otherwise, he wouldn't have just won 100 yuan red envelope. Huo Menjian's ability to win the special prize has nothing to do with Li Jie. It can only be said that she is lucky. At around 9 p.m., after the annual meeting, Li Jie was ready to go back to his apartment. However, as soon as he got in the car, he received a call from his high school best friend Guo Jian. When they first entered college, Li Jie and Guo Jian had many contacts. But as time went by, the contact between the two became less and less. It took 2 to 3 months, or even longer, before I got a phone call. After the call was connected, Guo Jian first asked Li Jie whether he would return to the mountain city for the new year this year. After hearing that he said he still wouldn't come back, he complained a few times. After the two chatted for a while, Guo Jian suddenly said, "Has Zhang Yan contacted you?" When Li Jie heard this, he was stunned for a moment. "Why did she contact me?" He said this, but he thought about it in his heart, as if it was time for Zhang Yan to contact him. Sure enough, I heard Guo Jian say, "Zhang Yan was asking for your contact information from classmates everywhere, and when she found me, I gave her your QQ number. Jizi, I feel that Zhang Yan likes you, you can figure it out yourself." After hanging up the phone, Li Jie sighed lightly. If it weren't for Guo Jian's call, he would have forgotten about Zhang Yan. It was during the Chinese New Year this year that Zhang Yan took the initiative to add his QQ account. Then the two of them chatted on QQ and became more and more speculative, and they confirmed their relationship soon after the school started next year. On May Day, Zhang Yan took the train all the way from Harbin to Hongcheng to see her. However, this relationship only lasted less than 2 or 3 months. Not long after Zhang Yan returned to Harbin, she got together with other boys. However, Zhang Yan would still contact him like he did in the previous life, which meant that Tan Hui did not tell anything about him. Li Jie did not disclose his situation to his best friend Guo Jian at all, because he didn't want to tell the story to his father. Li Jie was completely disappointed with his father. He is an extremely selfish person who only cares about himself and does not care about the life or death of others. Moreover, he is extremely snobbish and shameless. If his father found out that he was now worth hundreds of millions or even 1 billion, he would immediately come with his mistress and not even be able to drive him away. In the previous life, Li Jie didn't fully understand this until 10 years later. He never wanted to think the worst about his parents, but the fact forced him to face it. Li Jie has had very little contact with his father for more than a year, and he had more contact with him in the first semester of his freshman year. But starting from the second semester of freshman year, the contact became less and less, and now we have almost no contact at all. Li Jie knew the reason very well. Because he no longer cared about his father's tuition and living expenses, his father thought he was asking his mother for money. That's why I don't want to contact him, for fear that he will ask for money. Being selfish and unwilling to put in the effort to educate your children, but also wanting your children to become talented and benefit from glory, is such a beautiful idea. Li Jie shook his head, unwilling to think any more, started the car and drove towards the apartment. I really didn't want to be a warm man when I was reborn. Author, Li Yuanjie. Chapter 329. Back at the apartment, Li Jie found that Xiaojiao, Lu Kaiyu, and Shen Xinyi had all returned from their hometown as if they had made an appointment. "Honey, you're back," they all said when they saw Li Jie opening the door and walking in. Zhou Ziyu stood up and came over, helped Li Jie take off his coat, and then helped him get his slippers. "Xiaojie, you're back, dinner is just in time." Zhou Qing came out of the kitchen when she heard the noise and said with a smile. Xiaojiao glanced at Zhou Ziyu and then at Zhou Qing, feeling extremely uncomfortable. Why did Li Jie let Zhou Ziyu's mother live in the house and have a separate room? She felt as if this place had become the territory of Zhou Ziyu and her daughter. Why did Li Jie let Zhou Qing live in the apartment? Of course it's because she is considerate. An apartment this big needs a nanny. But the nanny is an outsider after all. How can she be as good as his mother-in-law? Since Zhou Qing likes to live here, let her live here, and she can also help with the housework. Because there were so many people, Zhou Qing cooked a lot of dishes. She cooked 15 or 6 dishes and set up a large table. Li Jie took a bottle of red wine from the wine cabinet and said, "Let's have a drink together." "Xiaojie, I'll pour the bar," Zhou Qing said. "Auntie, you are an elder, how can I ask you to pour wine?" Li Jie took 6 cups, poured a little red wine into them, and then gave the cups to Xiaojiao, Zhou Qing, Zhou Ziyu, Lu Kaiyu, and Shen Xinyi. Zhou Qing swayed the red wine in the glass with a satisfied smile on her lips. She enjoys her current life very much. She lives in a top-notch mansion and has first-class food, clothing, and housing. If nothing else, this bottle of red wine costs 5,000 to 6,000. How could she afford it before? And now I have a wine cabinet for such red wine, so I can drink it casually. Li Jie took a sip of red wine, put down the glass, and glanced at Xiaojiao, Zhou Ziyu, Lu Kaiyu, and Shen Xinyi. "I bought the villa in Tan Palace." Tan Palace? Zhou Qing, who was shaking her wine glass, almost spilled her wine when she heard this. After she moved into the Platinum Bay mansion, she went online to check the top luxury homes in the country. She found out that Tan Palace was the #1 mansion in Shanghai and the best in the country, with a villa selling for hundreds of millions. Xiaojiao, Lu Kaiyu, and Shen Xinyi were also a little surprised when they heard this. Zhou Ziyu's expression remained unchanged. Did she know Li Jie's true net worth? A villa worth hundreds of millions is nothing to him. "Husband, did you really buy it?" "How much did it cost?" Xiaojiao asked. 125 million, but the down payment only requires 37 million. 125 million? Zhou Qing was shocked. In her opinion, billionaires were already unattainable figures. Spending 125 million to buy a villa, how much money does her son-in-law have? Xiaojiao, Lu Kaiyu, and Shen Xinyi were also a little shocked. Not everyone is the richest man, 100 million is just a small goal. For ordinary people, 100 million is really an astronomical figure. Li Jie continued, "This villa is big enough, with 6 rooms, which is enough for us to live in. In a moment, you will draw lots to choose a room. After you choose the room, tell the designer what kind of design you want. This villa is still in rough shape, and it will take a year from decoration to move in." Xiaojiao, Zhou Ziyu, Lu Kaiyu, and Shen Xinyi looked at each other and then nodded. Drawing lots to see who is lucky, this arrangement is acceptable to them. In addition, this year we went to Sanya to celebrate the new year, and I also bought a sea view villa in Sanya. After Li Jie finished speaking, he said to Zhou Qing, Auntie, you can come with us too. The winter in Shanghai is still very cold, but in tropical Sanya, it is still summer, which is very suitable for a cold holiday. I won't go and won't disturb you anymore. Of course Zhou Qing wanted to go, but it was a bit inappropriate for her to follow. It's okay, let's go together, Li Jie said with a smile. Zhou Qing only has a daughter like Zhou Ziyu. He wants to take Zhou Ziyu away, and she will have to spend the new year alone. He did this last year, and it would be unreasonable to do it again this year. Besides, there were 2 female bodyguards going with them, so one more Zhou Qing would be fine. 2 female bodyguards, and one is Zhou Ziyu's bodyguard Lu Ji. The other one is that the bodyguard arranged by Li Jie for Xiao Jiao and Shen Xinyi is called Lu Yingqi. He was away from Hongcheng for a long time, and it would definitely not work if there was no one there to take care of them. After eating, Li Jie returned to the master bedroom. He changed into pajamas, leaned on the sofa, and logged into QQ with his mobile phone. As soon as he logged into QQ, he found that a girl named Yanner had added him as a friend. It's Zhang Yan's QQ. Li Jie clicked and approved the application. Zhang Yan's message came back very quickly. As soon as he passed the application, she sent a message. Li Jie. Right. Where are you? Luanzhou. No, I'm in Shanghai. Shanghai stock market. Zhang Yan seemed surprised. Come here to work during the holidays and make some money. You're so awesome. You started working part-time in your sophomore year. After chatting for a while, Zhang Yan said, I heard that you and Tan Hui are not together. Guo Jian is such a big mouth. Li Jie shook his head in his heart. He only told Guo Jian about Tan Hui. Right. Why? No reason, it just feels inappropriate. So do you have a girlfriend now? Yes. After Li Jie sent this message, there was no movement from Zhang Yan. After a while, Zhang Yan sent another message, congratulations. Congratulations to me. Congratulations on finding a girlfriend. We've all been together for over a year. That's it? After sending this message, Zhang Yan became silent again. Just when Li Jie thought that the other party would not send any more messages, the phone he put aside suddenly vibrated. He picked it up and looked at it. Can I see your girlfriend? Okay, Li Jie did not refuse. He and Zhang Yan are not suitable at all. Let her give up earlier this time. But whose photo should I post? Li Jie thought for a while and didn't send the photo of Xiao Jiao or Zhou Ziyu and Lu Kaiyu. Instead, he chose an intimate photo taken with Shen Xinyi and sent it. Zhang Yan's impression of him should still remain in the past, that honest, hard-working, motivated, and not good at words. In this case, Shen Xinyi is more suitable. As soon as Li Jie sent the photo, Xiao Jiao opened the door and walked in. Husband, what are you doing? She glanced at him. I didn't do anything. Li Jie put his hand aside casually. You can't be chatting with her and your crush, right? Have you finished drawing lots? Yeah, Xiao Jiao smiled and nodded. She was very lucky and won the second bedroom with the best location, which was next to Li Jie's master bedroom. What made her even more happy was that Zhou Ziyu was unlucky and got a room with the worst location. Xiao Jiao came to the sofa, sat on Li Jie's lap, hooked her arms around his neck, and said coquettishly, husband. She must have just taken a shower, her body smells good, and her skin is delicate and smooth. I'm going to take a shower first. Li Jie hugged her and said. One look at the president's tail wagging and he knew what she was thinking. No need to wash it, I don't dislike you. Xiao Jiao arched in his arms. Didn't the president dislike it before? Why doesn't he dislike it now? In that case. Li Jie thought so, stood up with Xiao Jiao in his arms, and came to the large French window with a 270-degree corner. He is the most fair person. He took Zhou Ziyu to experience it last time, and he will definitely let Xiao Jiao experience it this time. Don't you dislike it? Hey, Jiao Bao, why are you pinching me? Haihe Province, Mountain City, an ordinary community. Zhang Yan stared blankly at the photos on his phone. In the photo, a masculine and handsome young boy with confidence in his brows is hugging a very pure, beautiful, and lovely girl. Li Jie has become different, more handsome, more mature, confident, and better. Also, his girlfriend is so beautiful. She couldn't help but feel a little ashamed of herself. The two of them are such a perfect match. Zhang Yan felt that the impression of Li Jie in his mind became blurry. The current Li Jie is no longer worthy of her. After a while, Zhang Yan came back to his senses. She thought for a while and sent the last message back to Li Jie, "Your girlfriend is so beautiful and she matches you very well. As I thought, you have become better." It's enough to know that he has become better and better. On the sofa, the phone is vibrating. However, Li Jie was busy at the moment and had no time to worry about his cell phone. "I was not lucky in the lottery, and I only picked a room with the worst location." Zhou Ziyu didn't care much about this. As long as she and Li Jie get married, they can legitimately live in the master bedroom. No matter how good the location of the other rooms is it better to have a master bedroom? Zhou Ziyu's confidence is getting stronger and stronger. She could tell that Li Jie liked her more and more. Otherwise, why would he only take her to the United States to do crude oil trading? Xiao Zhou Qing finished washing the dishes, came out of the kitchen, winked at her daughter, and then went back to the room. Seeing this, Zhou Ziyu followed her back to the room. The mother and daughter sat down on the sofa. "Mom, do you have a problem with me?" "Xiao, do you know how much money Xiaoji has?" Zhou Qing asked. "The villas in Sheshan are more than 15 million yuan, the villas in Tangong are 125 million yuan, and this apartment is 27.7 million yuan, plus the villas in Sanya and those high-end residences. Li Jie purchased 200 million yuan worth of real estate this year. Even with a loan, the down payment was 60 to 70 million yuan. His net worth is definitely more than hundreds of millions." After hearing this, Zhou Ziyu smiled and said, "Mom, I don't know how much money Li Jie has." Zhou Qing didn't believe her daughter's words. "Why, you can't reveal it to me, and I won't tell anyone else." "Mom, I really don't know very well, but it should be this number," Zhou Ziyu said, stretching out her right hand and crossing her middle finger on her index finger. 10 billion. Zhou Ziyu guessed that Li Jie's net worth should be 3 to 4 billion. Unexpectedly, the answer he got from his daughter was 1 billion, and he was stunned. "It's more than 1 billion," Zhou Ziyu said in her heart. She looked at Zhou Qing, who was stunned, with complicated thoughts. She felt that Li Jie was a little too good to her mother. "He won't be." Zhou Ziyu shook her head in her heart. She really couldn't accept it. If she had a younger sister, she would be able to accept it if her sisters served together. But Zhou Qing really can't do it. If Li Jie knew that his little lover missed him so much, he would probably vomit blood. He really just respects his mother-in-law. Filial piety never deteriorates. In the master bedroom, Li Jie was lying on the bed, with the exhausted Xiao Jiao nestled in his arms, already asleep, with a satisfied smile on his face. She moved into the master bedroom. The president didn't know yet that Zhou Ziyu had slept in the master bedroom before her. Li Jie gently pushed Xiao Jiao away, got out of bed and left the bedroom. While eating, he felt that Shen Xian was absent-minded, as if he had something on his mind and was going to see her. Li Jie came to Zhou Ziyu and Shen Xinyi's room, opened the door and found that only Shen Xinyi was there and Zhou Ziyu was not there. Shen Xian leaned on the bed and was lost in thought. She didn't know what she was thinking. She came back to her senses when she saw Li Jie come in. Li Jie also got on the bed and hugged her. "What, are you worried?" Shen Xian glanced at him, smiled and shook his head, no. Seeing that she was unwilling to say anything, Li Jie stopped asking any more questions. Let's sleep together tonight. What Li Jie said about sleeping is a place, not a verb. After turning off the light, he hugged Shen Xian and closed his eyes. However, after Li Jie closed his eyes, Shen Xinyi opened them again. In the darkness, she looked at him in trance. Shen Xian was not sure when he fell in love with Li Jie. I just know that since the welcome party, I will often think of him. Then I watched him become better and better, and there were more and more girls around him. Finally she waited for his confession. Shen Xinyi knew very well that there was little chance that she and Li Jie would reach the end. However, she was satisfied to be able to spend some time with him and leave a good memory. But the longer she stayed with Li Jie, the more unwilling she was to quit. But if she doesn't quit, will she always be the fourth or fifth mistress? Especially Li Jie is getting richer and richer now, with a mansion worth 27.7 million yuan and a top-level villa worth 125 million yuan. It really looks like a wealthy family. Can rich families compete for their favor? At noon the next day, Li Jie, Xiao Qiao, Zhou Ziyu, Lu Kaiyu, Shen Xinyi, Zhou Qing, and two bodyguards Lu Ji and Lu Yingqi, a group of 8 people, flew to Sanya. After arriving in Sanya and coming out of the airport, they took 2 taxis and Li Jie and his party went directly to the villa on the beach. After arriving at the villa, Xiao Qiao and Zhou Ziyu all looked surprised. This villa is so beautiful. The villa Li Jie bought in Sanya has 4 floors and 6 rooms, with a usable area of 700 square meters and an area of 2 to 3 acres. The entire villa area is more than 300 acres and there are only a few 30 villas. A first-line sea view villa, only 30 meters away from the sea. As soon as you open the front courtyard door, you will see the sea. The appearance of the villa is even more fashionable and beautiful. The villa in Tan Palace is more classical in style and luxurious. Relatively speaking, this villa is more modern and fashionable, and more popular among young people. Not to mention Xiao Qiao, Zhou Ziyu, and others, even Li Jie was a little surprised when he saw this villa for the first time. The design of this villa is more fashionable and beautiful than many villas built more than 10 years later. It can only be said that as long as you are rich enough, your enjoyment will transcend the times. Husband, how much did you spend on this villa? Xiao Qiao asked. More than 10 million, which is cheaper than the villa in Sheshan, Li Jie said. So cheap, Xiao Qiao couldn't help but say after hearing this. After seeing the 125 million villa in Tan Palace, she really felt that this villa was only over 10 million, which was too cheap. And she wasn't the only one who thought so. Looking at the expressions of Zhou Ziyu, Lu Kaiyu, Shen Xinyi, and Zhou Qing, it was obvious that they also thought so. This villa is only for vacation, and we can't stay here for a long time. After Li Jie finished speaking, he paused, and then said, "Let's go, I'll take you upstairs to have a look. Standing on the terrace to see the sea view is more beautiful." You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I really didn't want to be a warm man when I was reborn. Author, Li Yuanjie. Chapter 330. No matter how beautiful the scenery is, you will get tired of it if you see it too much. When they first arrived at the villa, Xiao Qiao, Zhou Ziyu, Lu Kaiyu, Shen Xinyi, and Zhou Qing all liked to stand on the terrace to watch the sea view and blow the sea breeze. However, after a long time, they got tired of watching it and lost interest. The villa has 6 rooms, all of which are large. The largest is Li Jie's master bedroom, which is more than 70 square meters. The other 5 rooms are also more than 40 square meters. As soon as you enter the door on the first floor, you will see a large open living room and dining room with an area of over 100 square meters. Xiao Qiao, Lu Kaiyu, and Shen Xian lived in one room, Zhou Ziyu and Zhou Qing's mother and daughter lived in one room, and the two bodyguards Lu Ji and Lu Yingqi lived in one room. In the garage, there are two ordinary scooters worth more than 100,000 yuan. This villa is just for vacation, there is no point in buying a car that is too good. Li Jia asked Lu Ji to drive to purchase some supplies, such as grain, oil, vegetables, fruits, fresh food, etc., and also asked her to buy a large box of fireworks. Let Lu Ji go shopping and Lu Yingqi stay. Mainly because Lu Yingqi is better and a master shooter. Not only is his marksmanship good, but his level of bow and crossbow is also very high. With the two crossbows in the villa, she would have no problem dealing with 5 or 6 ordinary people. Although this is a high-end villa area with gated entrances and security guards, it is still a suburb after all, so you still need to pay attention to safety and take precautions. After getting tired of looking at the sea view, Xiao Jiao and Zhou Ziyu fell in love with swimming in the large, constant temperature swimming pool. However, only Zhou Ziyu and Lu Kaiyu among them can swim. Xiao Jiao, Shen Xinyi, and Zhou Qing can only swim in the swimming pool with swimming rings. As the only man in the villa, Li Jia had the unshirkable responsibility to teach his two girlfriends and his mother-in-law how to swim. For Xiao Jiao and Shen Xinyi, he taught them step by step, but he had to keep a distance from Zhou Qing. Filial piety cannot go bad. On the 22nd, 23rd, and 24th, 3 days passed in the blink of an eye. During the day, you can watch the sea view and blow the sea breeze on the large terrace, play in the water at the beach, and swim and play in the swimming pool. In the evening, take a bath in the large bathtub with sea view and watch a movie in the oversized private cinema. Xiao Jiao, Zhou Ziyu, Lu Kaiyu, Shen Xinyi, and Zhou Qing all lived a very comfortable life. As for Li Jia, his life was even more comfortable. Watching Xiao Jiao, Zhou Ziyu, Lu Kaiyu, and Shen Xinyi wearing bikinis and playing in the swimming pool made Li Jia completely fall in love with swimming. He also took them to have fun in the garden, terrace, swimming pool, gym, etc., in many places. In addition, Li Jia got his wish and experienced Yu and Jiao serving together again. There was one time when he was a guest fitness instructor at the gym, helping Zhou Ziyu do exercises. Zhou Qing happened to bump into him, which made him a little embarrassed. On the 24th, the night of the Lunar New Year, Li Jia accompanied Xiao Jiao and Shen Xinyi to watch a movie in a private cinema on the basement floor. The private cinema in this villa is 100 square meters, which is comparable to a small screening room. The screen is very large. Every night, Li Jia watches a movie with Xiao Jiao, Zhou Ziyu, Lu Kaiyu, Shen Xinyi, and Zhou Qing. On the screen, there was a South Korean movie. Zhou Ziyu, Lu Kaiyu, Zhou Qing, and others looked at it for a while and didn't like it very much, so they left first. Li Jia felt more and more unhappy as he listened to Xiao Jiao and Shen Xinyi discussing how handsome the male protagonist was. How handsome is this male protagonist with his flat nose and small eyes? With this thought in mind, he stood up. "Husband, don't you want to watch?" Xiao Jiao glanced at him and asked. "No more, just watch." After leaving the screening room, Li Jia was just about to take the stairs back to the first floor when he heard movement over at the gym. So he turned around and went to the gym. In the gym, Lu Kaiyu, wearing shorts, was doing exercises. She lay on the waist beauty machine, with her knees on the kneeling pad, her feet and calves hanging in the air, and she used the strength of her waist and abdomen to lift her entire body up to the top of the machine, then lowered it back to its original position, repeating the cycle. Seeing this scene, Li Jia immediately felt that it was necessary for him to play a guest role as a fitness coach again. "Husband," seeing Li Jia come in, Lu Kaiyu glanced at her and continued to sit and exercise. As she exercised again and again, her beautiful figure curves were revealed, and her long legs were particularly eye-catching. "Xiao Yu, let me help you." Li Jia came behind Lu Kaiyu, held her slim waist with both hands, and helped her move up and down. Lu Kaiyu originally only wanted to exercise for more than 20 minutes and do 30-40 movements. This exercise method is very strenuous. At first it was difficult for her to do 20 exercises. After 3 or 4 days of exercise, she can now do more than 30 exercises. However, Li Jafei asked her to exercise a little longer. It was extended from more than 20 minutes to more than 40 minutes. Although Li Jie assisted, Lu Kaiyu was still exhausted. After the exercise, she was covered in sweat, her pretty face was flushed, she was out of breath, and her waist was extremely sore. A little too much exercise. Li Jie also felt a little tired and let out a breath. He half hugged and half supported Lu Kaiyu up the stairs and sent her back to her room, letting her rest for a while before taking a shower. After coming out of Lu Kaiyu's room, Li Jie walked to the swimming pool. He was going to go for a swim. He was somewhat used to swimming with Xiao Jiao and Zhou Ziyu these days, and he wanted to swim a couple of laps before going to bed. He came to the swimming pool and found Zhou Ziyu swimming inside. She wore a very sexy blue bikini, swinging her beautiful legs and swimming in the pool like a mermaid. Seeing Li Jie coming, Zhou Ziyu swam to the edge of the swimming pool and said with a smile, "Honey, are you coming to swim too?" "Come and swim a couple of laps," Li Jie said, and also got into the water. He is more interested in swimming now. After swimming with Zhou Ziyu for a while, Li Jie glanced at her and said, "Xiao, can I teach you a new swimming move?" "Small fish?" His little lover's nickname is So Apt. She really looks like a mermaid in the water. After hearing this, Zhou Ziyu chuckled and nodded, "Okay." Li Jie swam to her side and hugged her from behind. "Xiao, swim with me." The new move he taught her was the double swim. Li Jie found that it was hard to have too many girlfriends. He guest starred as a driving instructor, guest starred as a fitness instructor, guest starred as a swimming instructor, and I don't know what kind of coach he would guest star in the future. It seems necessary for him to learn more skills so that he can be the exclusive personal trainer for his girlfriends. The next day, New Year's Eve. Early in the morning, Xiao Jiao was awakened by the sound of firecrackers. The residents of the villa next door were setting off firecrackers, the big ones with 1,000 rings. She sat up from the big bed and rubbed her eyes like a lazy kitten. Last night, she was addicted to watching movies and watched it until past 1 in the morning. "It's already past 8 o'clock." Xiao Jiao looked at his watch and muttered softly. She got up and got out of bed and took out a set of hanfu from the cabinet. Li Jie told them that everyone will wear hanfu during the Chinese New Year this year. Xiao Jiao took off her pajamas first, and then put on her clothes one by one. First put on the sling, then put on the top and knot it, put on the skirt, pull the short lace on the back piece to the chest and tie it, and pull the front piece up to cover the knot on the chest. Soon, a chest-length skirt was put on. Xiao Jiao smiled and turned around in a circle, then opened the door and left the bedroom. Going downstairs and arriving at the large living room on the first floor, I found that Lu Kaiyu and Shen Xinyi had already gotten up and were sitting on the sofa in the living room. Lu Kaiyu wore a cross-collar skirt, while Shen Xinyi wore a double-breasted skirt. Not only did they wear hanfu, their hair was also tied up, giving them a full ancient flavor. "Where's Li Jie?" Xiao Jiao asked. "I haven't gotten up yet," Lu Kaiyu said. "Li Jie hasn't gotten up yet? He didn't go back to his room very early last night." "Where's Zhou Ziyu?" "I haven't gotten up yet." When Xiao Jiao heard this, Zhou Ziyu didn't get up either, and she became even more suspicious. "I'll go upstairs and have a look." She kicked along the wooden stairs and ran upstairs again. When she arrived at Li Jie's master bedroom, she opened the door and came in without knocking. In the room, Li Jie had just woken up and his eyes lit up when he saw Xiao Jiao coming in. "She is so beautiful in hanfu." Sure enough, flat-chested girls are perfect for wearing hanfu. It's just that the hair and clothes don't match. If Xiao Jiao knew that Li Jie was praising her so much, she would probably pounce on him immediately and bite him. Xiao Bao, what's wrong with you? It's okay, I just came to see you, Xiao Jiao said. I'm getting ready, Li Jie said. He taught Zhou Ziyu double swimming last night and stayed up very late. Then I'll go out. Don't leave yet. Now that you're here, help me get dressed. Li Jie's hanfu is a set of Confucian clothes with a wide robe and large sleeves. He ordered these hanfu from an online store. They are beautiful in style and of good quality. Under Xiao Jiao's service, Li Jie got dressed, and then the two of them left the room and went downstairs. Li Jie's eyes lit up again when he saw the clothes on Lu Kaiyu and Shen Xinyi. They both look better after wearing hanfu, especially Shen Xinyi, who is more suitable for wearing hanfu than Xiao Jiao. Wearing an underskirt and wearing her hair in a bun, she is extremely cute. Xiao Yu, please help Xiao Jiao tie up her hair. Lu Kaiyu listened and nodded. At this time, a black SUV drove in from outside the courtyard, then the door was opened, and Lu Ji, dressed in black sportswear, got out of the car. She went to buy fresh vegetables, fruits, chicken, duck, fish, seafood, and other ingredients early in the morning. Hearing the noise, Zhou Qing and Lu Yingqi also came out of the kitchen and room. Zhou Qing's hanfu is a women's skirt, and her hair is tied up. Lu Yingqi, like Lu Ji, is also in neat sportswear. Zhou Qing and Lu Yingqi were seen helping move things. Li Jie said to Xiao Jiao, Lu Kaiyu, Shen Xinyi, and the others, let's go help too. Moved all the purchased ingredients to the kitchen. Zhou Qing continued to be busy processing the ingredients, while Li Jie, Xiao Jiao, Lu Kaiyu, and Shen Xinyi posted couplets, blessing characters, and hung red lanterns. Zhou Ziyu hasn't gotten up yet, Xiao Jiao muttered. How lazy, she added in her heart. However, as soon as she finished mumbling, Zhou Ziyu came down from upstairs lazily. She wore a cross-collar skirt and held an embroidered round fan in her hand. She looks like the eldest lady of a wealthy family in ancient times. Zhou Ziyu glanced at Xiao Jiao and the others, then smiled and said to Li Jie, hubby, I'm going to help in the kitchen. After saying that, she went to the kitchen. When Li Jie, Xiao Jiao, and the others were posting couplets outside the courtyard gate, it happened that the resident of the villa next door, a middle-aged man in his 40s, was also there with a girl of 12 or 13 and a boy of 7 or 8. Post couplets. Little brothers, you are also here to spend the New Year's vacation. The middle-aged man took the initiative to say hello to Li Jie with a smile. His eyes fell on Xiao Jiao, Lu Kaiyu, and Shen Xinyi, and he paused slightly. Yes, Li Jie nodded to the middle-aged man. The two sides chatted for a few words. The middle-aged man introduced himself as Chen Qingshan, who worked in a company in Zhongcheng. He came to Sanya with his family for vacation during the New Year. This villa was rented. When Li Jie introduced himself, he only said that he ran a small company and rented a villa. There is no need to show off your wealth to strangers. After posting the couplets and Chinese characters, I also hung up the red lanterns. Li Jie took Xiao Jiao and the others and fired a large whip with 1,000 rings. Lu Kaiyu and Shen Xinyi were responsible for holding bamboo poles and carrying whips, while Li Jie and Xiao Jiao were responsible for lighting the fire. Li Jie held Xiao Jiao's hand and lit the fuse, then pulled her away quickly. The hanging whip crackled. In the afternoon, around 2 o'clock, Zhou Qing and Zhou Ziyu had the meal ready. A large table was set with 20 dishes, all delicious and rich. Li Jie, Xiao Jiao, Zhou Ziyu, Lu Kaiyu, Shen Xinyi, and Zhou Qing sat around and had a reunion dinner. Looking at 4 girlfriends and a mother-in-law, Li Jie felt a little emotional. This should be the most lively spring festival he has ever had. After eating, Li Jie played 5-player landlords with Xiao Jiao, Zhou Ziyu, Lu Kaiyu, and Shen Xinyi. The lottery is a fool's errand. Xiao Jiao originally suggested playing with money, but Li Jie didn't agree. You can't do things like gathering people to gamble. Besides, playing with money is not as fun as playing with your head. When Lu Kaiyu and Shen Xinyi won, they only gave the loser a few symbolic blows. But Xiao Jiao and Zhou Ziyu played hard against each other, playing as hard as they could, making each other scream in pain. Xiao Jiao was unlucky. He lost more times and his forehead was red. She noticed that Li Jie was still laughing on the side, and became even more angry. Taking advantage of the opportunity of winning the card, she hit him hard on the forehead several times. However, with her little strength, Li Jie couldn't hurt Li Jie. After playing landlords until around 5 o'clock in the evening, the five of us dispersed and went to do their own things. Zhou Ziyu and Zhou Qing went to the swimming pool to swim together, Lu Kaiyu went to the gym to exercise, and Shen Xian went back to the room to play on the computer. Li Jie came to Xiao Jiao's room. "What are you doing here?" Xiao Jiao glanced at him and said. "She is still a little depressed." "Let me apply some medicine for you," Li Jie said, taking out a small tube of ointment from behind his back. In fact, Xiao Jiao's forehead was just red from the bullet and did not need any medicine at all. He just came to comfort her. After applying the ointment, Xiao Jiao immediately felt a refreshing sensation on his forehead and no pain at all. Seeing the smile on her lips, Li Jie smiled in his heart. The president is still very coaxable. "Husband, what are you doing?" Xiao Jiao noticed that Li Jie's hands were restless. "I'm giving you a massage." Li Jie once again played the role of masseur. "If I don't work harder, our children will have to drink milk powder from now on." Xiao Jiao gave him an angry look and felt a little unhappy again. Li Jie actually disliked her. "I really didn't want to be a warm man when I was reborn." Author, Li Yuanjie. Chapter 331. At around 7 o'clock in the evening, Li Jie and Xiao Jiao went downstairs and came to the living room together. In the living room, Zhou Ziyu, Lu Kaiyu, Shen Xinyi, and Zhou Qing were sitting on the sofa, eating peanuts, melon seeds, fruits, candies and other snacks while watching movies. On the 65-inch large TV, this year's New Year's film If You Are the One is shown. If You Are the One was released on the 18th last month and is almost out. With a box office of 325 million yuan, it won the box office championship in 2008. Seeing Li Jie and Xiao Jiao walking down the stairs together, Zhou Ziyu and the others looked at them. They noticed that Xiao Jiao's cheeks were flushed, her eyes were moist, and the corners of her eyes and brows could not hide the strange color. They could not guess what the two of them were doing in the room. However, they are all a little used to Li Jie's absurdity. Li Jie and Xiao Jiao also sat down on the sofa and watched the movie with Zhou Ziyu and the others. Of course Li Jie has watched If You Are the One. To put it simply, this movie is the story of a mistress who goes on a blind date to find a spare tire, but ends up meeting an old man and gets trapped. "Qin Fen, you are here with me, but your heart is elsewhere." "Liang Xiao Xiao, you don't have to accept it, I know it's unfair to you." "Qin Fen, then can you allow me, my heart is here with you, but my body sometimes deserts." Li Jie's attention was not on the movie. He had been reading text messages and answering phone calls. Subordinate employees of the company, teachers and classmates at school, relatives and friends, etc. Too many people called him and sent text messages to wish him New Year's greetings. In addition, he also made many New Year greeting calls and sent many New Year greeting text messages. Secretary Tan from the embassy in the Czech Republic, Vice President Zhang of Hongcheng Normal University, leaders of Hongcheng Economic Development Zone, leaders of Shanghai High-Tech Park, business friends, classmates in MBA classes, etc. Li Jie made a New Year greeting call or sent a text message. These people are all connections and may be used at some point. Li Jie knew very well that what he lacked most was connections and background. And he is unwilling to find a girlfriend with a background to marry, so he can only slowly expand his network and make connections. In fact, business knowledge and vision are secondary, the most important thing is strong connections and background. With a strong background, you don't need to predict the trend at all. You need to wait for the trend to appear and just enter the market directly. No one will reject you, and no one dares to reject you. There are even some industries where you are not qualified to enter if you don't have enough background. The protagonists of many rebirth novels rely on their foresight of the future and want to get involved in everything. Doing so is simply seeking death. If you have no background and still go around touching other people's cakes and making enemies, what good consequences can there be? After answering another phone call, Li Jie shook his head in his heart. As expected, the poor in the busy city have no one to care about, while the rich in the mountains have distant relatives. His second aunt, fourth aunt, and younger aunt all called him. The second aunt also asked him which school Yao Li should apply for next year's college entrance examination. Li Jie's second cousin Yao Li passed the college entrance examination last year. However, it was not ideal to only get into a second-tier college, so she chose to repeat her studies. If nothing goes wrong next year, she will be admitted to Jinling University. Li Jie knew that when his second aunt called, he didn't really want him to help Yao Li decide which school to apply to, but just to build relationships. No need to guess that it must be his mother who told him about making a lot of money by starting a company. When it was almost 8 o'clock, Shen Xinyi said, "The Spring Festival Gala is about to start." Xiao Qiao said, "Then let's watch the Spring Festival Gala." She picked up the remote control, turned off the DVD, and tuned to CCTV. At this time, Li Jie's cell phone rang again, but this time he did not answer the call directly, but went out with his cell phone. After he left, Xiao Qiao, Lu Kaiyu, and Shen Xinyi looked at each other, and they all expressed the same meaning. Li Jie has a problem. Only Zhou Ziu's face was thoughtful, as if she had thought of something. Li Jie came to the courtyard of the villa and answered the phone. This call was from Luan Xiaolin. She was spending the new year with her parents in Hongcheng. She was extremely envious when she heard that Li Jie and the others were on vacation in Sanya for the new year. "Husband, how about I come over and stay with you? You'd better spend the new year with your uncle and aunt. Starting next year, you won't have much chance to celebrate the new year at home." He had 4 girlfriends that he couldn't handle anymore. How could Li Jie let Luan Xiaolin come over again? Luan Xiaolin was stunned for a moment on the phone. "Husband, are you saying that I will become popular next year? When Crazy Lottery is released, you should be somewhat famous," Li Jie said. Crazy Lottery was released on the 5th day of the Lunar New Year. During the post-production of the film, directors Yang Qing and Su Zheng wanted to change the film's title to Night Club, but Li Jie did not agree. It is better for the movie title to be easy to understand so that the audience can clearly understand the theme of the movie. Besides, Crazy Lottery can still take advantage of the popularity of Crazy Stone and Crazy Racing. Crazy Racer is also a New Year's film this year. It was released on the 20th and has been released for almost a week. After hanging up Luan Xiaolin's phone, Li Jie called his mother again and chatted for a few words. He learned that she was celebrating the New Year at home alone, while her brother Li Zhepeng went to his mother-in-law's house to celebrate the New Year. After calling his mother, Li Jie was about to go back to the living room when his cell phone rang again. He glanced at the caller ID and saw it was Nini. "Nini, Shen Yu, Yang Hao." Li Jie's phone calls were endless. After hanging up one call, another call came. By the time he returned to the living room, it was already past 9 o'clock. The program on TV is a group crosstalk called New Theory of Five Senses. Li Jie took a look and felt a little impressed. After all, he had watched this year's Spring Festival Gala. When it was 10 o'clock, Zhou Qing brought the dumpling fillings and wrappers that had been prepared to the living room, and the 6 of them made dumplings together. Zhou Qing is very good at making dumplings, Zhou Ziyu makes the best looking dumplings, and Lu Kaiyu also makes them decently. As for Xiao Qiao and Shen Xinyi, they must have never made dumplings before. Not only were their movements unfamiliar, but their techniques were also wrong. The dumplings look a little weird. Xiao Jiao also used 2 dumpling skins to wrap a dumpling like a pancake. Li Jie glanced at the dumpling in her hand and said, "Jiao Bao, eat this dumpling yourself." Xiao Jiao snorted softly, "You can eat it by yourself. You want to eat it but I won't give it to you." Zhou Qing took a dozen dime coins and asked Zhou Ziyu and the others to wrap the coins in dumplings. "Let's see who is lucky and gets the most coins later." Li Jie glanced at Xiao Jiao, Zhou Ziyu, Lu Kaiyu, and Shen Xinyi. "Whoever gets the last coin tonight will." "Who is it?" Xiao Jiao asked when Li Jie stopped talking. "I will grant anyone's wish," Li Jie thought for a while and said. He originally wanted to say whoever would sleep with him, but then he thought that Zhou Qing was still there. What if she gets the most coins? Whoever wishes to be fulfilled. When Xiao Jiao, Zhou Ziyu, Lu Kaiyu, and Shen Xinyi heard this, they looked at each other, a bit competitive. Li Jie was stunned for a moment when he saw this. They weren't overthinking it, were they? On TV, after Lu Chen performed magic, there was another dance program, and then came the finale of the Spring Festival Gala, Zhao Laojian's sketch. The sketch Not Short of Money is the longest program in this year's Spring Festival Gala, lasting 24 minutes. Although Zhao Laojian has been criticized for many things, including vulgar sketches, luxurious life, discrimination against disadvantaged groups, and even being rumored to be involved in gangs, etc. However, from the first Spring Festival Gala in 1990 to the last Spring Festival Gala in 2011, Zhao Laojian attended a total of 21 Spring Festival Galas except for missing the rehearsal in 1994. After so many years, many people have become accustomed to watching the Spring Festival Gala. Time for his skit. Later, he stopped going to the Spring Festival Gala, and the Spring Festival Gala became more and more boring. Zhou Qing looked at Shenyang on TV, shook her head slightly and said, "Why is this person neither male nor female?" Xiao Jiao, Zhou Ziyu, Lu Kaiyu, and Shen Xinyi all couldn't appreciate Xiao Shenyang's coquettish dress and that mean temperament. Li Jie looked at Shenyang on the TV and chuckled. "Husband, why are you laughing?" Xiao Jiao glanced at him and asked. "Nothing." As soon as Li Jie saw little Shenyang, he remembered the scene in The Holy Love when his wife caught him having an affair and ran away naked. In Da Chun's words, it's bye-bye. After watching the skit, the dumplings are almost ready. Zhou Qing took the wrapped dumplings to the kitchen to cook. At this time, intermittent firecrackers sounded outside, and fireworks bloomed in the sky from time to time. However, the sound of firecrackers was not intensive. This villa area is located in the suburbs. There are relatively few residents in the surrounding area, and there are also few people setting off firecrackers, so the atmosphere of the new year is not very good. Li Jie took a look at the time and found that it was already past 11:40, so he said to Xiao Jiao, Zhou Ziyu, Lu Kaiyu, and Shen Xinyi, "Let's go set off the fireworks too." After the fireworks, it's time to eat dumplings. They moved a lot of fireworks they bought to the yard, and the 5 people set off the fireworks together. There are many types of fireworks, such as spray flowers, spinners, rockets, bead spitters, small fireworks, etc. All kinds of fireworks continue to bloom in the sky. Li Jie set off 2 fireworks and then stopped, smiling as he watched Xiao Jiao, Zhou Ziyu, Lu Kaiyu, and Shen Xinyi happily set off fireworks. Romance is created by spending money, and these fireworks cost tens of thousands of yuan. At midnight, 5 people each lit a 25-ring gift box. Fireworks bloomed densely in the sky, lighting up the night sky. "It's so beautiful," Shen Xian couldn't help but say as he looked at the fireworks blooming in the sky. Xiao Jiao and Lu Kaiyu also stared at the fireworks intently. Zhou Ziyu did not look at the fireworks, but looked at Li Jie, who happened to be looking at her too. Their eyes met. Their eyes met, the two of them were connected, and they immediately understood what each other meant. Both Li Jie and Zhou Ziyu remembered last year's New Year's Eve. They celebrated the New Year together in a special way, regardless of each other. Happy New Year, hubby, Josiah mouthed with a smile. Li Jie couldn't help but smile when he saw it. He thought of this time last year, when she was the first to tell him that the new year was coming. What are you doing? Xiao Qiao said, a little unhappy when she came back to her senses and found Li Jie and Josiah flirting with each other. Nothing, Li Jie smiled. Happy New Year, hubby, Xiao Qiao said with a cheerful smile. The president didn't know it yet, but Josiah had once again beaten her to the challenge. Happy New Year, hubby, X2. Lu Kaiyu and Shen Xinyi also laughed and said. Qiao Bao, Xiao Yu, Guai Guai, Happy New Year, Li Jie also said to the four of them with a smile. After saying that, he reached out and pulled their hands over, stacking them together. The five of us will spend every New Year together, okay? Xiao Qiao, Josiah, Lu Kaiyu, and Shen Xinyi looked at each other and nodded lightly to Li Jie. After setting off the fireworks, the five people returned to the living room and found that the dumplings had been cooked. Xiao Jie, you came back just in time, hurry up and eat dumplings, Zhou Qing greeted with a smile. The six people ate dumplings together. The dumplings are stuffed with pork and cabbage and taste very good. After eating 2 dumplings, Xiao Qiao said in surprise, I got a coin. Soon, Shen Xinyi also said with a smile, I also got a coin. From time to time someone would get a coin. Xiao Qiao, Josiah, Lu Kaiyu, Shen Xinyi, and others were all surprised when they got the coins. Li Jie just said that whoever gets the most coins will grant a wish. When everyone was almost full, everyone counted the coins they had eaten. Xiao Qiao has 3 coins, Josiah has 2 coins, Lu Kaiyu also has 2 coins, and Shen Xian has 1 coin. And Li Jie is also 1 coin. Is Xiao Qiao the one with the most coins? No, it's Zhou Qing. 5 coins for her. Looking at the coins on the table, Xiao Qiao was very reluctant. She has 1 coin more than Josiah, but 2 coins less than her mother. Josiah didn't say anything about robbing her, but now her mother is robbing her as well. What does this mean? Li Jie glanced at Zhou Qing and said to himself that it was a good thing he didn't say anything just now. Whoever gets the most coins will sleep with him, otherwise he will die of embarrassment now. Auntie, what is your wish? I don't have any wishes, Ziaji, or just forget it, Zhou Qing waved her hand. Auntie, if you don't want to say it, then I'll do it, Li Jie said with a smile. After eating the dumplings, the 6 of us watched the movie If You Are the One that we had not watched before. After watching the movie, it was already past 1 in the morning. Zhou Qing yawned and said, Xiao Jie, you guys can play. I'm a little sleepy, so I'm going to sleep first. After saying that, she went back to her room. Xiao Qiao glanced at Li Jie and asked, hubby, what should we do next? 5 people must stay up until dawn. How about watching a movie? They easily get into arguments while playing games. It would be unlucky to have a fight on the first day of the new year. Li Jie found another movie called Peach Blossom Luck, and the 5 of them continued to watch it together. The starring role of this movie is still Uncle Ge. Halfway through the movie, Xiao Qiao became obviously sleepy and kept yawning. She and Li Jie discussed massage techniques together before, but they spent a lot of energy. Li Jie glanced at her and said, Qiao Bao, if you are sleepy, go back to your room and sleep. Don't insist. It's okay, I'm not particularly sleepy, Xiao Qiao shook his head lightly and said. Josiah, Lu Kaiyu, Shen Xinyi, their mistresses, and mistresses were all staying with Li Jie. How could she, who was unmarried, leave? I'm going back to the room to get the computer, Shen Xian stood up and said. She wasn't very interested in the movie and was going to use her computer to steal some food. As soon as Shen Xian left, Li Jie's cell phone on the coffee table vibrated and then turned off. He made too many calls tonight and drained his phone's battery. I'm going to charge my phone. Li Jie also went upstairs with his mobile phone. Shenzhenyi and Lija left one after another, but they never came back. Seeing that the movie was about to end, Joziu and Lucaio both felt that something was wrong. The two looked at each other. Seeing that Lucaio was about to speak, Joziu said first, "It seems a little cold. I'll go back to the room to get some clothes." After saying that, she got up and went upstairs.